Good morning, good afternoon, and welcome to day 3 of the Apex Legends Global Series Pro League. This is Group B versus Group C. Will Alliance and Scars, two historic names in Apex Legends, bounce back? Or will we see Tyler FPS remain as the kill leader for Vexed Gaming? Or will E6 and Aurora continue to dominate with off-meta team compositions? We will find out the answers to those questions and more. And guess what? I can't answer them myself. To call all the action today, we got none other than Spider Tiff and Vicky Kitty. Tiffany joining us for the very first time live for an ALGS broadcast. It is a pleasure to have you joining the team. How are you feeling?
Hey, I'm feeling so excited. We know this group matchup is going to be absolutely insane. And what better way to start it off with EMEA, with Fallout, with Vicky Kitty. Bro, I'm just ready.
Vicky, I'm going to let you take a little break for you and I as a duo. And I wouldn't do it for anyone but Tiffany, to be honest with you. How you feeling, girl?
I'm feeling so great. You know what? One, I have to say, welcome to the team, Tiff. Welcome to the chaos. I hope you're ready because we're going to have so much action. But like Tiff was saying, we got a really stacked lobby on our hands and we got to see some teams really turn up here.
Absolute truth. Let's take a look at that stacked lobby. Who are our participating teams today? Tiff, which teams do you have an eye out for?
Look, I'm going to go ahead and call out Scars right now because I know they are coming off some midweek success and I want them to carry that momentum forward here today. Jarovic, Hierarcha, Taishin, I'm looking at you guys. Let's see if you can do it.
On the flip side, yeah, there's a good few teams, good few call-outs. Obviously, you have IG, you have Alliance, you have quite a few others. But let's take a look at our standings and see where exactly they're positioned in the grand scheme of things. KCP and Ascend on top. We will not see them today. They've already completed 2 groups. And keep in mind here, Group C has not played 2 full days yet. So they're going to be a little bit behind. But still, you see teams like Reply Totem in 12th, Vicky. Tell me what stands out to you in our overall standings.
That and Aurora, E6, of course, out here as well. Aurora, you know, they just came off of a really heavily stacked day with 21 total points. E6 kind of leading the way for them, though. As you take a look at the other side of this page, this is what Tiff was talking about. Where is Alliance? Where is Gaiman? You know, Gladiators, they were kind of holding back themselves. They're not going to be performing today, but I'm excited to see what Scars got up their sleeves because these teams really need to pop off to get themselves off of that second page of the overall standings.
Yeah, all 3 teams that we never would have expected to be where they're at right now in the standings. Obviously, it's early, but a day like today is monumental. We're getting to the halfway point, or at least the quarter point of the overall season, and this is where you see teams kind of spread ahead of the rest of the pack and teams fall behind. And yes, Alliance, you know, maybe they did it for the story, but they had to absolutely dominate the end of Pro League last split to make it to the Split 2 playoffs in their home country of Sweden. I don't want Alliance to have to go through that pressure again, so this is a big day for them, big test for them and Scars and a few others. But look, those are the big names historically in Apex. There's been a new wave of top teams and top talent, and one of those teams, well, it's Element 6. That's my team to watch today. E6 has been playing so well, and the way that they're doing it with this team composition of Lifeline, Crypto, and Horizon, the only Lifeline in all of ALGS, Slayers has been performing so incredibly well. The controller, Demon, they pick up Liffen, brand new to the ALGS, a rookie controller player from Poland, and a ton of questions as to how he's going to perform. But overall, I love my team to watch today. This is the game where they absolutely popped off with an opening win last time they competed. Excited to see what E6 can do. Tiff, who do you have, though, for your team to watch?
Oh, you know I'm going to have to go with Vexed Gaming. They are just an absolute powerhouse right now. You've got Tyler FPS Unlucky joined by that IGL Matafe, and they are just so incredibly dominating. If you didn't know, Tyler FPS, the current kill leader, 21 eliminations from match day 1, and you can just see the synergy and the cohesion and how they approach these 3v3 fights. There is not a doubt in my mind that they'll find themselves near the top of the leaderboard for Rying Out today.
Yep,
honestly, aside from
this is the moment you saw. Go ahead, Vicky.
Fallout. You know, just looking at the way that Vex was able to play in, and then looking at Aurora. I mean, Aurora's right behind Ascend, and how they deal with the team like E6 with their very interesting composition is something that I have to highlight because this is why Aurora is my team to watch. No bias, of course, with the Bloodhound and the double scan with Seer, but the fact that they have the Wraith Fallout, you talked about it in week number 1. You wanted to see some crazy action. Well, you got it, and you got it in the hands of Wraith. You got it in Mad Maggie. Aurora Gaming out here, they were formerly known as Team Empire, aka Major Pushers, and I'm excited to see what else this team has up their sleeve because they got those different comps between World's Edge and Stormpoint.
Mad Maggie and Caustic, Wraith on Storm Point. You love to see it from Aurora, but hey, rather than some teams to watch, take a look at a player to watch as well. And I got to double click on Tiff. Tyler FPS, the overall kill leader in EMEA right now. And by the way, he's only played 1 day of action. This is his second game day. 21 kills, an average of 3.5 kills per game. It's insane how well he's performing. 5.2k damage in his debut under the Vexed Gaming banner. Tyler 100% has to be your player to watch today. I'm excited to see if he can continue that consistency. And where's he going to be continuing that consistency? Well, let's take a look at the map rotation and map schedule so you can see exactly how the action will unfold. We're kicking off with Storm Point yet again for the first 3 maps. Last 3, well, we'll switch over to World's Edge. You guys already know and love the 2-map rotation between the two. Will Broken Moon have a future in competitive Apex? That's a big question. But for now, we're giving the players time to play that one. We're keeping an eye on Storm Point and World's Edge. And guess what? You can keep an eye on your favorite teams, your favorite players, your favorite point of view, courtesy of Multiview, award-winning feature. Literally, as mentioned last week, won a Tempest Award for the opportunity to innovate in esports. You can watch your favorite team, your favorite player, your favorite POV, and hear every rotation, every single comm. Yes, in-game communications are included. So if you're joining us for the first time and not familiar with the Multiview feature, make sure to click the command center at the bottom of the Twitch stream, and you can pick whichever team you want. You can have us side by side alongside that broadcast, or you can run all 4 POVs. Watch Apex your way with Multiview as we get ready for day number 1. It is going to be an unbelievable day of action. Tiff, we talked about a few teams already, though. I'd love to hear your predictions. Who do you think is going to take it today?
Look, I was telling Vicky before this broadcast, I was like, I don't think it's a good idea for me to drop predictions. You were talking about Onset having a curse just the other day, and honestly, I might be feeling a little bit of the same, but if we're gonna go predictions, it's gonna be Vex. We were talking about Tyler FPS. He got his own cool little graphic with the 21 eliminations, but what you're not actually knowing about that is they had a game that was worth 0 points. Game number 2, no points were accrued. So that 3.5 average was actually skewed for only just points scored in 5 games.
Insane.
Wow.
Yeah, he's been performing so incredibly well. And I love the Vex call out. I think they've been on the up and up every single day. Vicky, who you got?
I'm gonna have to say, first off, I'm glad I'm not the first one on the hot seat, Tiff. Welcome to the team, because Apollo always loves to do this.
Ask the tough questions.
It's true. And at least, you know what? There's nobody that could be more cursed than Onset. So you're good, Tiff. I know you're gonna do fantastic, because Vex is a really good team to definitely look out for. But the team that I have on my eyes has to be the team that I was talking about in teams to watch. It's got to be Aurora, because when it talks about some of these teams like E6 and Aurora that have these different compositions that you're not used to seeing, those 2 teams, I'm so excited to see what they're gonna do. Are we gonna still see the Lifeline? Are we gonna still see the Mad Maggie? What do we have changing up going into week number 2?
Big, I should not have let you go on second, because now it looks like I'm a copycat. We share a brain, my friend. I was also going to double click on Aurora. I mean, they're the team that I think is going to perform today. I love the fact that they're playing off meta. I want to manifest that too, just because it'd be fun to watch. I mean, they're playing heavy edge. They don't even care about rotate. They're playing a Wraith, Wraith Bloodhound composition, highly off meta on Storm Point. Caustic Maggie, highly off meta, because it just fits their playstyle. And I got to say, respect to a team that says, I don't care what the meta is. We're going to do what's best for us. But we're having fun playing. And that's what they've done since the very beginning. They ran Bangalore and Mad Maggie quite often, kind of broke the mold way back at the Split 2 playoffs in Sweden, performed so well. And it was tragic. We didn't get to see them at ALGS Champs despite them qualifying because of visa issues. So the fact that they're back competing again is just awesome to see, and the fact that they're doing it at a high level as the highest ranked team that's only played 1 match day. They're in 3rd place overall, tied with E6 for the overall standings despite only 1 match day. So that matchup of E6 and Aurora is one that I'm excited for. 2 teams playing a little bit off comp, but a couple teams I want to highlight that are maybe more dark horse teams. And by the way, quick update for everyone in the chat. We're waiting for one last team to join the lobby before we get this started. So apologies for the slight delays here, waiting for the players to load up. But one other team I wanted to highlight, Start a Fight. They've been playing really, really well. The Twitter content from Doctor has been on point. I don't know if you guys have seen some of the content he's had to make sure that they can claim drop spots. Make sure to check out Doctor's Twitter. But they've been playing very, very well. Bambino's out of his mind, performing at a high level. They're kind of a dark horse team for me. Tiff, you have any other kind of dark horse or maybe budding teams you want to keep an eye out for?
Yeah, actually, I would. I would love to talk about Fire Beavers. Sorry, I didn't want to botch that. But they came in first over scrims this week, and I know it's really hard when you can talk about scrims because it's not necessarily the same quality of what you're going to see in ALGS, but it's kind of a good indicator, right? If you're going to come in first over Vexed Gaming by just 1 point, that's a massive W and a good confidence booster. So if they can carry that momentum forth into today and play like they know they can, I'm looking at you, Taskmaster, Impulse, and OJ. You got this.
That's a good call out. Vicky, how about you?
My dark horse has got to be Echo Esports because we saw them really put out a performance in day number 1. And I got to say Echo Esports because they're on the cusp right now. Obviously, this is just the second week, but they're still on the cusp between 9th and 10th place right behind our Turkish team, Turkish Stars. So I want to see Echo Esports really pop off because this is an opportunity to start making that gap between themselves and the rest of the lobby.
Yeah, I like those. And honestly, I agree. Actually, I had both those two down in my dark horses. But the third that I had, a team you wouldn't expect to call a dark horse necessarily, but they almost are. It's Scars. I mean, this is a team that you expect to be performing, but it's just a giant question mark. Will they perform? Will they not? Last week, they did not. Obviously, a new roster, Iarka and Jarovic joining Tai Sheen, the CEO of EU. And it takes time for a team to mesh, a team to develop. But we saw in North America, FaZe, their first debut, first time playing together, and they get second place. They dominate. I'm looking for that same energy for Scars, and they're a dark horse to me because you just don't know how they're going to perform. And another squad as well is Game Ward. Keep a close eye out on them. The two rookies, YOLO and Aimbot, former Le Site de France, led by Cyclops, been doing it for a very long time. Keep a close eye on Game Ward. But hey, enough of us talking for the pre-show. Game 1 is just about ready. And to call the action for the very first time in ALGS is Spider Tiff joining us in the broadcast team alongside Vicky Kitty. Ladies, take it away.
Thank you so much, Paulo. Tiff, welcome to the chaos because no bias out here. I got the Bloodhound heirloom. I'm in Bloodhound's hideout. I mean, come on. I'm so excited to not only call the action with you, but to welcome you here in such a great team. And we got a great lobby to kick things off with.
I could not have picked a better team to be a part of and a better lobby to jump on the mic for my first ever day. So let's do it. Map number 1. We were talking about Scars. Thank you, Fallout, for that nice little segue. They had some midweek success, and I was watching a lot of the mid tournaments they were kind of playing in. And honestly, shout out to Shiv for putting together something so amazing. Scars was looking so incredibly well during that moment. Their team cohesion, the comms, they were flowing. And honestly, they really do need to find some success, and it needs to start now rather than later. We don't want to get too far down the split and they end up getting relegated. There are only 9 spots, Vicky.
Yeah, actually, it's insane. 9 spots in such a lobby like this, and they had a pretty rough day for that second day where they were first able to perform. I believe they got 17th overall, and they were consistently finding themselves dropping out of these lobbies at 15th, 14th place with little to no kills. I think they only secured themselves like 2 points, so we need to see them pop off. Scars being on the other side of that overall leaderboard is very impressive. While we get to see maybe some 50-50s go down here in these POIs.
Hey, that's what we want to see, a little bit of early game action, but just right now, everyone's kind of nestling into their POIs for the drop spot. And one set that I want to mention, Gaskin, talking about how the end game rings pull in correlation to those drop spots. And as you can see right now, Element 6 over in North Pad with that ring kind of hovering over Scars and Checkpoint. A lot of these teams might find those shorter rotations to provide really fruitful benefits for them, and they can make it through the long game. But what better way to start off match number 1 with Vexed Gaming, Matafe on your screen right now. And I really want to see what these can do. You know, Tyler FPS Unlucky, they're not happy getting third on that first match day. They want to come out on top.
We thought that some teams were nestled up in their own POIs, but here we have Echo Esports fighting off against Game Ward. This is one of the 50-50s that I was trying to take my eyes on to see if any of these teams wanted to falter, maybe change their decision, but Echo Esports do have a nice positional advantage. Nice beamage with the Hemlock. We don't get to see these knocks as often with the Hemi early game, especially with no attachments, and we see it already. The advantage going in favor for Echo Esports while they try to send it in. I mean, it's always nice to be able to land on some purple Evo shield here too, aside from having the positional advantage. Only 1 member left from Game Ward as they run away.
Look, you just gotta know when to disengage at this point, so I understand that last member of Game Ward trying to get out of dodge and essentially salvage anything that they can, because that's the risk that you run if you're gonna take any of these early game contests. And Echo clearly having the upper hand and setting up Bardo very nicely. The only one with that white shield is, as nice as we would call it, a napkin. The little blue napkin. I just love the way he goes about that, but definitely claiming the downed beast for themselves. And we saw this kind of happen in the first match day. Some of these teams would take that early contest in match number 1. If it doesn't prove to be going their way, they'll kind of disengage and pick a different drop spot later on. But so far, so good for Echo Esports as they pick up some early KP.
Yeah, I guess ironing things out at the very, very beginning is really important for a lot of these teams to also make a statement to secure their POIs and their rotations. Because like you made mentioned, you know, seeing how a lot of these circles ended for some of the teams that ended up winning here on Stormpoint, it did favor the teams that the circles were naturally pulling towards. Like we saw in game number 1 in day 1, Northpad going in favor for E6, who still land there, who are in the middle of the rotation. Scars are looking to bunker down though, and there are still running the Newcastle and Watson comp. So, you know, now trying to take a very passive approach. They're trying to predict that the circle is going to be pulling towards down Beast. The beacon, I know that there is one at checkpoint, so teams like Foot Esports and Startify are going to be able to start rotating in that direction to see where that circle is going to be pulling.
Yeah, that's kind of what you need to do. Start a fight on your screen right now. Bambino getting a nice little reset in as they make their way towards that next zone. But hey, I love any time I jump on and someone's carrying a longbow. And this is going to be a little toxic, Vicky, and this is going to be a hot opinion here. The charge rifle. I am always going to pick one up in ranked, even if it's just because I want to be an absolute menace. But keeping it a little classy here is that longbow.
Preach, though, preach. And you know what's nice to know? The replicator does change, I believe, in 5 minutes, but currently the bundle is going to be that purple 3x scope and the purple normal stock. So that standard stock also is going to be something that a lot of these players could be able to craft if they get their hands on a replicator. But a lot of teams, like IG International, have already made their way to the edge of this next circle. You can see that they have the information from the beacon. Horizon posted up on the outskirts of that next circle, who also have that information. So this is going to be a really important spot for the teams that are going to be rotating from the northern part of the map. Remember, I did highlight E6, and they usually drop in Northpad, so I'm wondering if they were booted out of this side or if they just wanted to get ahead of the curve and start rotating towards down Beast.
Oh, and sometimes that's what you got to do. IG International with the Caustic and the Crypto in the hands of Noises. And I know you were kind of talking about Crypto a little earlier. We were chatting about our backgrounds. I actually still love Caustic being brought into Stormpoint as a great way to control the space. But Crypto also to provide a lot of that information that you need to have about the nearby teams. Because if you're looking for a safe rotation out, Crypto provides that. Or, you know, you can use Seer, scan meta, throw up some exhibits, and get all the information you can handle.
Give it to me all here. All the exhibits, all the information. We've been seeing Seer in a lot of these compositions. I mean, he's been the mainstay piece for a lot of these teams because that information is too good. As you can see, the longbow, it may not be the charge rifle that you so love, Tiff, but you see them getting these picks. It's E6 on the other side, getting that knock onto Echo Esports, and with still one member alive, they're actually going to be able to reset. Nobody's going to fully set it onto Echo Esports on the high ground here in Down Beast.
It's kind of spicy. If you're going to be able to get a few knocks right there, you need to go ahead and capitalize on that movement unless you've got a really secure positioning where you don't want to leave that advantage. But to allow Echo Esports to just get a free reset is kind of spicy. But granted, we are just getting started. The first ring kind of closing and 20 squads remaining, and Echo Esports still leading the charge with the KP they've been able to pick off of Game Ward earlier, and just running the top of Down Beast. They have all the information and the high ground advantage, which is one thing I love about Stormpoint, Vicky. We talk about this all the time. It's that top-down verticality. You need to make sure that you always have the high ground on your opponent, such as LFO Forever, kind of down here, Horizon, Lackey, and Light on your screen, bunkered up with those Watson fences.
Yeah, I can talk about the disparity of the high to low ground forever when it comes to Stormpoint. That's why the Skyward Dive is so good to utilize, especially from those northern POI teams. As we take a look at some of our slower rotating squads, Totem Esports now remaking their rotation uphill. They're still rocking the napkin Evo shields, as Tiff made mention of before. It's still with one blue Evo, but they're looking to try to get involved in a fight. If they could get in some poke pressure, that'd be fantastic for them, especially if they're holding on to a sniper with one of their weapon classes. Looking at some of the other squads, though, making their rotation, looks like we have some contention on the southern part of that next map, and here comes another squad. You see that Seer tactical out, and you see how quick Totem Esports is to turn around real quick to actually reposition.
Well then, let's talk about it. Vex Gaming, you know, Tyler FPS, current kill leader in the EMEA region, 21 eliminations on that day 1 from 5 matches, and let's see what they can do. That IGL Matafe firing out with the Ironside Wingman, but meanwhile, Tyler is actually going to fall to Neas. That's not what you want. Unlucky, and Matafe forced to go ahead and try to get the regain on Tyler. Smart to go for the res as soon as they can, and Corpa right now trying to reset as well, but this is a good moment, Vicky, where they can both get some reses off and just reset before going in on each other.
Yeah, this is super important for Corpa too, because although they did have the high ground right there, that reset where they had to actually exchange, whether, you know, you had Neas go pop up the shield bat, you have the other player trying to get the res. Now Vex Gaming are going to be able to push up, and they have the health advantage. So with that information, they're going to get extremely aggressive, but they're still playing on the outskirts of the circle. With a lot of this commotion, you could expect some other squads to get involved with a potential third party as an easy way to gatekeep in that next circle.
And I think that's something you definitely have to keep an eye on. When you're going to play that aggressive edge and just push your way in, you are going to have to take every engagement and fight your way into that zone. Whereas if you're playing zone, you're already chilling. But hey, Fire Beavers, that dark horse we were talking about earlier on with Fallout, seem to have just claimed victory over Nightmare Esports, Limex, that Polish team. If you guys are familiar with Nightmare Esports, they're familiar with that. They started off in NA and made their journey over, picking up an EMEA roster, and sad to see them go out now. But Vex Gaming have found their prey, Vicky.
Oh, we've been seeing a lot of these players drop with 54 players in the lobby. We got a lot of unfinished squads, but Vex Gaming in such a good position. Love the thermite grenade to block out any sort of exit here from Corpa, and that's it. Corpa Gaming trying to back up originally against Vex, and unfortunately, they were not able to get away. Here comes that potential third party. You saw the Wraith, and we know who it is. It's got to be Aurora, and they have the portal real quick to reposition inside the bunker doors, as well as the Beast of the Hunt that's activated.
Oh, this is exactly what we wanted. One of those teams to watch. Aurora, and I, as a former Wraith main, am so excited for Ranches right now to get out in there, but it's going to go down, unfortunately. So Clevy and Maliwan are going to have to pick up the slack here. Now, Arcstar is out to go ahead and zone it. Will they be able to stick this res, or are they going to be able to have to clean it up? But Vex on the other side, prepped and ready for the third party. Unlucky, doing so much damage right now. This is going to allow the teammate Matafe to go ahead and crack that bat, while Tyler and Unlucky, these absolute controller menaces, descend upon Aurora and take them out, Vicky.
Oh no, Aurora, I hope I'm not the one that ended up cursing you instead. We were trying to hype up onset, but I think the karma has gotten me back, Tiff. Vex Gaming playing out of their minds, already securing 5KP, making these last two teams exit out of the lobby. Now they gotta wait for game number 2, but Vex Gaming looking on top.
Hey, that's exactly what they want. Tyler FPS during this week said, hey, come Sunday, we will be at the top of that leaderboard. So we know they are feeling cool, calm, and collected. But VZD on your screen now, actually, I think VZN, the first time we're seeing Nox join in on this duo. We know VJ and Zane last matchup they had kind of played as a duo, so we didn't get to see them in their full standings. But Zane just absolutely doing the most they can do to gatekeep right now. And that's going to be Fire Beavers on the other side. A little enticing.
I'm wondering here, VCD playing on the outskirts of the circle, which of these teams are going to contest them? I remember we did see Totem originally rotate out of here, but they are playing at a health disadvantage. So VCD maybe looking to gobble them up like an early Thanksgiving feast, but they're just going to be able to loot up early for right now. Always nice, you know, you get the itis sometimes. And VCD don't definitely want to get the itis. Instead, they want to be on their toes, and they do see a team rotating in their direction as they are approaching that next circle.
Hey, that's what you got to do. You just got to keep on moving on to get into that zone. But if you are playing edge, you have to keep in mind, like, hey, where is that next team? Where are we going to go? Which positioning do we want? And is that real estate free? If it's not free, you can look at Foot Esports. They took a god spot in map number 1 of their last match day by just aping the team that was in the position they wanted. And by doing so, you had god spot for endgame. It comes to a victory right there. So that's what I'm looking at. But a good free cam right here of Alliance. You got Hakis, Mandy, and Yuki. And let's go ahead and talk about this. Mandy on the horizon. We last saw him on Gibby. They were scrimming on Gibby, and it just wasn't working out for that team. So love to see them switch up the composition. And I believe it's the last week we will be seeing Mandy.
And this composition works into Alliance's playstyle so well with a squad actually taking to the skies in front of them. Let's take a look at our first listen-in of the day presented by Western Digital while we tune into Alliance.
Shall we head this way?
Light ammo here.
Alright, we can shoot this guy.
Oh, they're free.
3, 2, 1, shoot him.
Knock him.
Third him. Swing right and third him.
Hold on, guys. I need to
Tilting up as well. Yeah, just play the right side. Play the right side. He died.
Go first. We chill.
I died there.
These guys are not pushing.
I'm crawling up inside, okay?
I think you can do it behind here one day.
I'm crawling out.
Keeping an eagle eye here.
I think this is only one guy. We need to kill him, Yuki. Follow me.
Yeah.
I'm coming
Heal
now.
first. I need to heal.
He's Valk ulting.
Back. Duo. 51.
Okay, I'm shooting him.
90,
Yeah,
I'm
40
not-
flash, 40 flash.
Yeah, like a lot of flash on the
Yeah. We need to go back and clear our side now. We're playing for this corner. We're playing for this corner in the tunnel here, and then we're killing the team. Killing the team on the other bunker.
Yeah. Do you guys have ult cells?
No, I don't.
No.
Shoot.
Oh, damn.
I've only got 100 light. I can't shoot that.
Is this free? Right here?
I have no clue. No, it's not free. I got. Alright, should be free.
Yeah, that's one thing.
We need to clear
We
side though.
can also play here now. Is that really
We have
bad?
to take space in it, yeah. We have to take space.
Yeah.
Take space.
Okay.
We're gonna try and fight
I'm
this.
gonna
We have to
lose
fight
tunnel
this.
real quick.
Alright, get rid of
Yeah,
Fast.
I'm fucking.
Yeah, with you.
Yeah,
Go.
that's good. Let's go.
We're landing on this spot out here. You can go underneath the thing too.
Out here, yeah? Out here.
Yes, sir. Right out here.
There's a team right
So
there.
we're getting close. We can land here as well. Play the outside and pinch them.
Only one guy outside. I think we...
Here?
Here.
Yeah. Take outside. Take outside and pinch them.
Yeah,
Queue up and
I'm-
send it.
Oh my goodness, what an intense situation. The Arc Stars are being flown in the direction of Alliance. You could hear their talk, their comms just rotating between each other so that way they could get that res, even to the point where they were wondering if they used too much of their resources sending out the black hole. I believe sharing this real estate here is Horizon as well as Echo Esports. So Scars in the area too, as Alliance are in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, this is going to be really spicy because we saw Na'Vi fighting Alliance before they were able to Valk ult into this area, and they fell into the hands of Horizon. So it's like they are doing the exact same thing. Now 0-0 trying to survive that crypto. You don't have movement, so you're forced to disengage, hide behind this little area, and Alliance not able to get that IGL back up, and Mandy also down. But you know, no, I lied. Mandy's not down. Mandy's living his best life. Yuki and Co trying to keep it. But in the meantime, Fire Beavers, Game Lord, IG International, all these teams are falling. The ring is starting to collapse. Will Horizon come out on top, not able to get their health back up, and looking for cheeky little angles is going to be Urban, and that's what you got to do. If you're playing Valk, you have to be able to utilize your surroundings and find any little bit of advantage you can get. But the fact is, a little clean reset for Horizon here.
Yeah, but they're looking low on resources here too. Unfortunately for 0-0, he doesn't have any more syringes or a medkit, it looks like, to work with. So Alliance now are going to be able to out-resource them. They're playing on the outskirts and could potentially stop their rotation if they decide to take their time into rotating to that next circle. That is very risky though, because we do note that there's so many other teams in the area. As we take a look at V2 playing on the outskirts of this circle, did see that E6 also north of here were able to take down another team. So these teams dropping like flies as VZN meet them in the lobby. 10 squads left as Foot Esports out with a bow check. Is he Legolas as he manages to land some of these bows?
You say Legolas, I say Katniss Everdeen, baby, because it's the Hunger Games, and Noth out here just cracking heads all day, looking so strong. Only 29 arrows left, but that's okay because Foot Esports, they got 6th in match day number 2, looking to double down and do a little better. Noth closing the gap. I do love a good Watson, especially if you're going to go aggro with it, just navigating this rock and absolutely connecting, leveling up those shields, cracking the Horizon, allowing the team throwing enough damage down to kind of swarm around them and encompass. Kua is going to fall, but not able to grab it down as well. So now they just need to clean it up. Will that be all? V2 eliminated, done and dusted. Now Foot needs to step forward, get a quick regain, and which is something that I've really seen necessarily right here, Taylor. They're going to grab likely shields, armor swaps, throw them down for their team, and get the move on, because that ring is going to be at their back and you've got to move. But you got to think, who's going to be on the other side of that rotation? Will you run into a third party? But Echo Esports, Feral throwing out that black hole and nades to follow as they jump down to get in on the action. Eva, 8 in hand, just throwing down. They're going to lose out on Bardo, but will they come out? No, they're going to get eliminated.
Oh no, sorry, Obi-Wan's device did not work out for Echo Esports at that point. No high ground could do you any favors here, as LFO Forever, who have bunkered down inside of this building with the Watson fences, have been taking their sweet time now, looking for an opportunity to capitalize off of the bad positioning of Horizon squad that is forced to play off the low ground. Here comes an EMP to give them some insurance, to give them some room to breathe. That's from 0-0, so that way they can help reset, get the res on top of it. LFO Forever, though, it doesn't matter to them. They know that there's no other squad contesting them from the back right now. They they have some time to work with. I know Scars is a lot across the field from them, and that's a team that's going to apply some of that extra pressure.
I think just everyone is kind of wanting to get a piece of this action, get some of those KP. And meanwhile, Horizon not able to live in their little kind of hole that they bunkered down. And so they're going to be eliminated. 4 squads remaining. LFO Forever right now sitting with, I believe, 7 KP to their name, getting tagged up, forced to jump down from the high ground, get some resources. I love this look right now because we can see Element 6 out there on the right side playing the fence. Scars has been bunkered down in that building for the entirety of this game. So I have to call into question, were they able to get well-needed resources throughout that mid-game to sustain them throughout here? Because we know Element 6, Slayers on that lifeline, able to call in consistent care packages.
That's such a good point to bring up, because when you do bunker down in these end circles, once you get that information, a lot of these teams are denied the opportunity to get the loot that they need. That's why we sometimes see quick squads rotate if they're running their Loba. And like you mentioned, E6 with the lifeline, they haven't deterred away from this composition. They're also rotating away from North Pad, so they had all the time in the world to take their time to be able to get into this next circle. You can see Totem, though, they were able to clear the entirety of the south side of this circle, and with 1 bullet in the Kraber, who is going to be a victim?
You've got to be so clear with that, but it is going to be Lackey that is going to hit for 210. You know it feels good when you get a Kraber shot, but using that grab lift to take to the sky, PK in hand, you just want to finish it all off. 4 squads remaining, and you are doing everything that you need to do as Reply Totem. Just this team synergy is flowing, but you can see Scars looking to get in on that action, just throwing out some poke fighting, but doesn't want to leave that bunker. So you can see Reply Totem on your left, Element 6 kind of doing what Foot Esports did in that match day 1. Just biding their time, playing it smooth. When they've got that opportunity is when they're going to ensue, and it's just going to be an all-out chaotic fest. But you can see Lyfin on the right-hand screen going up to peek just on the skirts of the building, wanting to throw some action down, probably going to give that information back to his team if it's going to be a smart fight. But LFO Forever not able to make it to that end game. 3 squads remaining. Reply Totem looking solid.
Reply Totem, E6, Scars, who have been bunkered down in that building. Totem, though, falling a little low. Gotta be careful while you try to pop that Phoenix kit, though. It's Slayers and an off angle to make sure that they can get that knock. Reply Totem forced their way into this position amazingly. Off of that Kraber shot, they took full advantage into moving into that real estate, but they need to deal with E6 on the other side of the lot. With the Rampage and the hands of life, and he's looking to take another off angle. They were also trying to clean up a lot of the other stragglers that were sandwiched in between these 2 buildings, in between these 2 lots. And with K-Sweeney pulling up on the whip on that building, just now it's going to be able to be scary because you have some makeshift cover to work with on the Trident.
Hey, that's the best second use of the Trident, utilizing it as a cover. I just thought Sweeney was going to go for a quick ride, maybe some Fast and the Furious style, but if not, I'm here for it. They are ready for the long haul. I feel like this is the calm before the storm. As this ring starts to shrink, it's going to force everyone to collapse, and I feel as if Scars right now, kind of near the center, can hold out just between their little fortress. You've got the Watson Jenny, you've got the Newcastle wall, and you have all of these fences just kitted out and ready. Hiarka ready to strike like an absolute cobra right now. And Sweeney's still messing around with the whip, trying to find that perfect parking spot, looking like me trying to valet park. Parallel park.
Just parallel park specifically, but something important to highlight here, E6 with the crypto is going to immediately ruin all of the plans, all of the chances from Scars and the Watson fences that they build up, because that EMP alone is going to be able to delete all those fences from the outskirts without E6 even getting directly involved. They can grief Scars on the inside of this building and then allow Reply Totem to move in before E6 can move in for a third party. But Reply Totem, understanding the situation, they do have the high ground. They are going to be able to continuously pressure E6, but it's not like E6 is pressured outside of this spot, outside the fence, because the circle is going to be
Horizon available to pop that grab lift, right, to give them high ground at the last second, so it's not like they're going to be walking in on the low ground. Scars. Oh, here we go. Some grab lift action. K-Sweeney is just trying to get out. We see the black hole flatline hip fire going off, and it's just an all-out brawl. K-Sweeney trying to hit that bat in the air, but it's going to go down in the meantime. So Slayers and Life and our last man standing for E6, and as I say that, they're going to fall. It's all down to Scars, baby. We needed you to come in strong here at Scars. Your match 1 victors. They did everything that we needed to do them, Vicky. We did not curse them. We didn't curse them.
Oh, thank goodness. Scars patience wins the race for them at the end of game number 1. Can we talk about the Renegade Trident that was floating up and kind of gave that gravity lift advantage to Reply Totem, who also was able to pressure out E6? They were the biggest threats, and they pushed when they could really hang out on the other side of that fence, wait for Scars and Reply Totem to actually funnel themselves outside of the high ground instead.
Hey, sometimes patience is a virtue that I do not have, and Scars has it. We knew when they were bunkering down in that building that they had an inkling that they were going to be in a god tier position for that end game, and it paid off. I'm so impressed by them, but they do run that risk, and we talked about it, whether it was the resources. You're not getting as many eliminations as some teams may get throughout the duration of that beginning and mid game. So you run the risk. Yeah, you've got the 12 placement points, but how many eliminations are going to follow suit to couple that?
Very true, and especially looking at the fact that they were able to predict where that circle was going to be pulling for a while. They were bunkered down in that building, sharing some of that real estate with the likes of Horizon, Alliance that we saw just land on top of all of the chaos. It's exciting to see how that really worked out for them as we get our highlights ready to see what the action looked like in the rest of game number 1. We saw a lot of squads, like Reply Totem actually, circle keep most of the southern part of the map. They cleared that entire spot before they made their move into that next circle, and since they were playing at a disadvantage, they didn't have any real estate. They didn't have the high ground that the down beast provides. They were forced to inch their way into that circle while making sure that their backs were clear.
Hey, and that's what you got to do. Always make sure that back is clear. Control your space as you navigate in. We saw Vex Gaming do a really good job of that. Sure, they didn't make it to the end game, but I'm sure they took down as many people in the meantime as they worked their way through Corpa and into that next game zone. We saw them just in constant battle, whether that was Horizon or Alliance as well. But I'm just ready to see. And you know what? Scars back on top, baby. I know it's only after game number 1. And as we get those highlights queued up, we're going to see just how amazing they perform. So shout out Taishin, Yarka, and Drovic. Great job. You're carrying that momentum forward from the midweek, and that's what we like to see.
Tiff, you highlighted amazingly. Shout out to Shiv having that event, having that tournament to allow Scars to gain some of that momentum because they needed that confidence after a pretty poor performance in their first day in the ALGS. You got to call it how it is, but they were able to build that up and take game number 1. The question is, can they keep that momentum? Obviously, we have these first 3 maps, or rather these first 3 games on Storm Point, and we have a bit of a change up between Storm Point into World's Edge with some team compositions changing things up like we highlighted in the pre-show game with Aurora. But while we look into what we see for game number 1, the results of game number 1, let's take a look at the highlights. Let's see what went down in that game number 1. It sounds like production's queuing me up, telling me that we're ready, and we're going to be able to see what went down in that first game.
Ooh, here's that Hemlock you were talking about, that contest early on from Echo Esports, just absolutely decimating. And Game of Drones, you got Torj on your screen trying to beat it, but Horizon, all of these teams, just so much early game action, and we weren't even sure that we were going to get some.
Yeah, right. Game of Drones, but House of Fences. I'm not too sure out here how to recuperate. Fire Reavers too. Also, you know, having their moments, but a lot of teams on the southern side of the map really were caught in the middle of that rotation. With Reply Totem actually making their rotation through that mill spot, they were able to clear that up. And this fight, at very beginning, Aurora going down to Vex, who then got third-partied right afterwards. This was insane because Vex came out on top from both instances after getting a really quick reset.
And I think that's something that's really strong. When you watch a lot of these POVs, the teams, as soon as they finish a fight, they'll start calming. They'll be like, hey, keep an eye out for that third party. Well, we want to see if someone's coming in, and they'll give it a couple seconds. If they don't have anyone coming in, that's when they'll be like, okay, let's get a move on. But V2, Horizon, I'm actually shocked that Horizon was able to like make it as far as they did, nestled in that little spot. But everyone that had God tier positioning just didn't want to come out of that and take that from Horizon, because then you're losing your positioning there.
Yeah, like what we saw from Foot Esports, they were rotating outside the choke point of Checkpoint, and because of that, they were caught in the middle of their own rotation from Reply Totem. That was one of the last squads that Reply Totem cleared before they were also able to force a way into this building, opening things up with a nice little cheeky Patient Kraber shot. Patience seems to be the thing here for this first game for a lot of our squads, not only when it comes to KP, but securing their spot in that final circle like Scars did.
Hey, and this is that moment, the grab lift and the rampage just absolutely going out. It's everything that you need. It was so beautiful. But Element 6, we talk about those drop spot POIs, you know, Element 6, Scars, these are the teams that land near the down beast, and they made it to the top. But let's check out match 1 results, Vicky. We got Scars on top. They were able to pick up 6 eliminations, so a nice 18-point game. But it just goes to show you how prevalent those elimination, those kill points are going to be, because Reply totem, almost tying Scars' points because they had 8 elims.
Yeah, they were popping off, but Scars, we were wondering, was this going to be enough with them securing that position and not getting too overly aggressive? When we tuned into them before the final fight, they did have 2 to 3 KP to their name, so fantastic for them to clean up a total of 6 KP as well as the #1 dub. As we take a look at the overall leaderboards right here, Scars leading the way like we just saw right now after that match 1 results, 18 points, but Replied Totem, right after them, they got second, and they secured a good amount of KP with those 8 kills to be right behind Scars, so we still have a very close overall leaderboards with our first game.
Hey, and it's only the first game. We have 5 more games remaining, so the action is packed. But now my question is, can Stars reign consistent? Will they keep that momentum going forward? Or will Vex Gaming find a way to get into that end game and just absolutely wreak havoc on the lobby?
We're gonna have to find out. We're gonna go to a quick break, but on the other side, we're gonna have game number 2 ready for you. Welcome back, everybody, to the ALGS. It is day number 3 here in the EMEA region, and we had some quick action go down in that first game. I'm Vicky Kitty, and I'm joined with my girl, Tiff, and I'm excited to go down into game number 2 because we don't want to waste any more time, Tiff. We saw some early 50-50s go down. We saw some stragglers go down as well earlier on in the game, although all 20 squads are still up until, what, Circle 2, Circle 3, so it looked like there was some pretty quick, fast-paced action and resets at the very beginning of that first game.
Yeah, there were a lot of resets that I didn't actually think people were gonna allow to have happened. I feel like, yo, this is ALGS. You can't allow a team to reset. You've got to get on that hyper aggression. We saw Vex just hunt down their prey Corpo in map number 1, and I think we're gonna see a lot of that characteristics as these teams jump into their drop POIs, and I don't know if any of these teams will change. We're looking at you, Echo Esports. You won that contest over there at the Down Beast over Game Ward, and you can see right now Scars, Element 6, everyone's kind of making their way to that north area of the map, but it looks like Echo and Game Ward are both coming to set themselves up for the Down Beast, but we get a similar map as the one in the first. Sure, it's gonna pull just outside of the Down Beast, but Scars themselves gonna find another advantage.
Yeah, this is going to be another one of those northern-esque circles, which is going to be fantastic news for Scars and the team composition that they're rocking. I'm wondering how the 50-50 and Down Beast is going down between Game Ward and Echo, because that's going to be important to note for any of these teams around them in the area, Scars, E6, to feast upon a third party if they have that opportunity. Scars are going to take their time to loot here, but they're getting some amazing loot while they're at it. I mean, look at this, 2 purple Evos. You see Jerovic, who's still struggling just a little bit, but just a matter of time, and they even paint a gold extended energy mag. I mean, what a way to start things off with your Scars, because this is one of those teams that are looking to bunker down, that are looking to take their time to rotate, so the better loot that they have, the better situation they're in.
I mean, I don't think you could ask for much better loot. 2 purples and a blue, an extended energy mag for the vault. Absolutely setting themselves up for success. It's kind of like the Apex gods really want them to find some success here today. But Echo Esports still on top of the down beast and relatively calm. It looks like they're trying to get a line of sight on where Game Ward might have went. I love the aggression, though. They're kind of like, hey, let's take this, let's settle down, we get some KP. But I would like to see Game Ward kind of show out the former Licite de France roster. You've got Yolu being, I believe, the youngest player in the EMEA region, so that's absolutely massive. If you're going to come into Pro League, I think like 17 years old, you might as well throw down. This is a great way to start. And I mean, if I was 17 playing in Pro League, think of where he'll be in like 2 to 3 years. A menace.
I know, it's insane. It's insane how much young talent we have in the ALGS. These young legends that are creating such an amazing career for themselves in the pro Apex scene. They're looking out for Echo Esports, who are underneath them. I mean, with Game Ward underneath them, but with Echo Esports rocking the Seer, they know exactly where Game Ward's going to be if they try to counter-rotate around that down piece area. But with that fight, or rather that skirmish that's going down, since no shots have been taken just yet, you can expect a lot of these other teams to get involved soon. You can even hear VZN actually pulling up on top of Scars. And we're hearing the missile swarm coming in, and so VZN, playing on the outskirts of this building, are looking to get involved in an early fight themselves.
Yeah, and this is kind of what I've been waiting to see. I want to see a solid 3v3 fight out of VZN, but let's cut on over to Nightmare Esports, that Polish roster, and Denze, Limek, and Seven. You can see right now they clearly have the health advantage on the team, and Denze going in with that Valve, repositioning, hip firing the flatline, was able to get some shields off on the inside. So they're going to have to put a little bit more damage, but a Thermite going to cause them a little bit of punishment, but that's going to be Reply Totem.
Wow.
First here in map number 2, and they were in the top 3 on map number 1, so Nightmare Esports, they're looking to throw a wrench into Reply Totem's kind of series score here.
Ooh, you kidding me right now? Reply Totem, after they just had a fantastic game number 1, getting second with 8 KP. They unfortunately were caught out of position against Nightmare, who were able to take that fight so quick as well, secure that southern part of the circle, but also most importantly, that beacon, as VZN are in this fight. We saw that they're on the outskirts of Scars and they're building. I'm expecting the circle to pull in this direction, so I wouldn't be surprised if there's 3 to 4 other teams already rotating in this direction. VZN, though, with VJ, is going to be able to take a lot of pressure. He's going to be able to back off, reset with the shield bat, while the rest of the VZN members are going to be able to rotate back in.
Yeah, and I love the synergy that they're exhibiting here, right? VJ and Zane kind of able to take on that pressure while the other teammate is allowed to heal, but Zane just absolutely getting lit up. The issue is, can you get a good line of sight around this tree and the rock? Seer Tactical going out, providing a little bit of information. You can see right now, VZN knows they have the health advantage, and I fully expect them, but look at Nox, just kind of waiting, watching that other line of sight, making sure that no one else is approaching for the rear, but VJ going to fall, and going for that quick reset is what they're going to need to do, as Startify Esports is going out of the lobby in 19th place. So 18 squads remaining, and our first 3v3 from VZN.
Hasta la vista, back to the lobby, Startify. I'm sorry. VZN, though, with a great fight off of that, and not getting third party does highlight how some of these squads, like Scars, are just looking to stay put in that next circle positioning. They're not risking giving away any free real estate because, again, it just works into their team comp. It works into the plan that they want here. So they're just going to be able to stay put inside of those buildings, looking at the way that other teams are going to be rotating through that choke point that's to the south of them, leaving Mill, wondering which of those other squads are going to meet up with VZN, because although VZN are inside a building, they're not rocking the Watson. It's not like they need to bunker down exactly. They can hang out on top of these rocks to have the high ground advantage and to pressure out the likes of any team that is rotating through that choke point that you see Nag shooting at.
I mean, you can basically be a menace to society at these points. I've actually kind of reviewed these buildings. I believe there's approximately 14 different entryways between the doors and the windows of those cluster of buildings on the south of Checkpoint, and it's just not a place that you want. But Alliance right now still hanging out near the wall, trying to make their way into that next zone, but it's kind of spicy. I'm actually liking what I'm seeing. Sure, they're currently sitting in 11th after map number 1, but this is the moment, right? They looked a lot better. That fight against Na'Vi before Na'Vi decided to disengage with that skyward dive, and you can see Alliance right now headed to the skies as well, so they need to get a good position. But the question is, how much real estate is going to be available? A lot of these teams that are playing more zone have already kind of set up shop, and they're claiming that moment. But this is where the spiciness comes into play.
Absolutely, and because they want to rotate towards checkpoints, since this is where the circle is going to be pulling, they're going to be forced to rotate from the low to high ground. You could expect squads to already take up the real estate that is already in checkpoint. You could expect squads to be on the outskirts of the building, because usually for a circle like this, we usually see it pulling south of checkpoint. So going through this choke point, at least from the north side, you won't have too many squads trying to contest you. As you can see, Navi already getting a knock onto Echo, who have been getting contested for the last 2 games, like we said before, off of RIP. They lose out on one of their teammates. They're looking to see if they have an opportunity to escape through this alleyway, because Navi's got their number, they've got their heads, and they have the information to pinpoint exactly where they're at.
Look, I do not like fighting in these bunkers, right? And this is a spicy moment because you can see Echo Esports has already utilized their exhibit. Now Navi gonna pull out their own and be able to just descend upon them. Nades ensuing. Yeah, you're gonna try to counteract that with the black hole, but that's only 180 HP. They're gonna take it down like it's no problem. Use all the grenades you want, but the issue with this is it's going to be incredibly loud. And the moment you take over this bunker fight and you win that, you're gonna have another team say, hey, I'm gonna come take over what you just got as well, because we are on that outside of the zone, and there is the ability for people to still try to push in there. But the fact is, Echo Esports is bunkered down in there with nowhere to go. It's like, I don't know, fish in a bowl at this point, and you've got a shark looking to grab you.
Navi's hungry. You can see the pings going down. They see and pinpoint that there is a squad on the outskirts, maybe trying to take advantage of this position. Because like you mentioned, Tiff, you have this fight going on. You're making a lot of noise. You're playing by the edge of the circle, and this is going to work into the game plan of Alliance, into Game Ward, who like to play on the edge more so than not. So Navi, understanding the situation, are looking to their backs, are looking in front of them, looking around the corner, saying, we still see you. We know that you're waiting on an opportunity. So they're not going to fully send it inside of the bunker, even if they're playing at an advantage in terms of their number advantage, but they're hungry. They don't want to give up. You can see Sean actually taking a lot of damage, looking to back off just right now, but he's out of their line of sight, and he's allowing the rest of Navi to kind of bait them to actually funnel outside.
I think it's one of those moments where you just have to ask yourself, is this 2 eliminations worth me potentially getting taken out of the game right now? Like, will I be okay with that? And that's when you have to worry, like, maybe I should just disengage and start my rotation. But coming on over to V2, living their best life, just trying to make their way in. But Vex Gaming, no stranger to the aggressive nature, making light work of Fire Beavers. I believe there's just one left standing that they need to go ahead and fight, and you're just going in as a trio trying to take them out. They have all the information available to them. Matafe with that wingman going out, and all they wrote for Fire Beavers. That's a scary sight. Let me just tell you, Vicky, the moment that Vex has you in their sight, they've already taken down 2 of you, and you're the last one trying to disengage. You're not going anywhere, whether it's Corpa or Fire Beavers. You're not surviving.
And they needed that there too. Of course, we saw earlier on that Vex Gaming going down a lot earlier than we were expecting in that first game. And after cleaning up some KP, you can hear the pings going down before they're able to replenish all their material. You can see the car in the hands of Tyler, who had an amazing first day as an individual player popping off. He's got the gold extended light mag as well too. While they're in the middle of this rotation, why don't we take a look and jump into a listen with Vex Gaming while they plan their next move.
They can walk off through zone as well, don't forget.
I don't see anyone playing this.
This direction calls.
I'm gonna check out back 1 sec then.
Let us go.
That's
right, clear.
the team playing right, we should just clean the
This direction.
this
I don't see anyone. I don't see anyone prowlers.
Yeah, I'm gonna scan these buildings.
I'm just fucked up with me.
Let's see next zone, to be honest.
I'm just a bit scared.
I'm gonna slide down a bit and scan. Yeah, this is all free for now.
Nice.
Yeah, everything?
These 2 buildings, yeah. Like, we need to clear that out and
Flame draws me this way.
like we have so many options there. We should go now. Like we just saw, like all of this is free, so we have like a minute time before anyone can 3v.
Yeah.
Just watch out this cross here. Watch out this cross here.
I'm just taking out back 1 more time, okay?
No, come now.
People might be running here. Look.
Yeah.
Running here.
away.
Get to the building first.
Yeah, we can 100%. But they're running around. Yeah, they're running around.
And we can mirror them. Are they fighting here?
Wait, they're fighting in here. Yeah, fighting in there.
Yeah, go close.
Okay,
There's no
I'm
knocks
walking
here.
I'm pretty sure they've been fighting for so long, actually.
Yeah, there's PK fight.
I'm coming.
One guy got thirsted. We wanna 3p this, but then we wanna come back out here, okay? We don't have to play the building.
Yeah.
Caustic chops, watch out for caustic chops. It's a caustic team
I'm still
inside.
Yeah.
I'm going to get scouted.
Windows.
Careful.
It's still 2 teams, guys.
Yeah, I don't think we fight this.
Watch
We
out,
get
watch out.
4 teams. We'll come back.
Okay, I'm holding blind, okay? I'm
We're gonna get knocked.
You good,
Oh
Tyler?
my
Yes.
god.
We
Yeah, we need to Anyone have a medkit? I have syringes.
Hey, guy on the bridge. Fuck, you need to shoot for me right now. No, actually, I think we're fine here.
We have to check if there's not.
They just wiped it. Wait, let me get a scan in. Watch left. Let me get a scan. Just let me get a scan.
Okay, I'm watching
Go
back.
watch left because I'm healing.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, I think they're committing now fully. Can we just run in together?
Yeah.
Yeah, can you see
Oh,
us? Can you see us?
No, it's still two teams.
Vex Gaming, with all the comms in the world, to disengage, re-engage, seeing that they're put into a pretty difficult situation with another squad to their left. This is the risk that you run if you try to fully send it into a fight, maybe try to time a third party inside these buildings that we already knew that a lot of these teams made and took their time into getting there first before all these other teams were forced to rotate on the outskirts of the circle. You can see Vex Gaming now putting down some pings onto a squad to their left. It looks like their backs are clear to the right, but if they do get stuck here, this is going to be an easy choke point for the other squads inside these buildings to force their way out.
Yeah, and I think they realized that had they pushed in there, they were going to get completely sandwiched, and Vex is doing the right thing here. They've got a line of sight on a team on the outsides. It's going to be game ward. They don't even have the advantage because Yolu is out. It's going to be a 2v3, and Psychop right now is going to be forced to put as much damage as they can down. But you know when Vex Gaming has you in their sight, there's nothing you can do to combat their aggressive nature because they are just absolutely flowing right now. And sure, they've only been with Vex for about 5 months right now, formerly Bosch, but Aimbot going to fall. That means Psychop, last person standing here for the Game Ward team. Can you combat this in the 1v3? It would be a miracle, but Vex Gaming going to take down Game Ward, done and dusted, and they took minimal damage while doing so, and they're going to reap the rewards. They get the splendor, the loot, and they're still alive. The question is, will there be a third party, or are you going to have to push into that chokehold where all that chaos was standing?
I think they took that fight fast enough to at least avoid and ward off any third-party potential. We do know that there are other squads that like to hang out on the edge of this circle, but they're not going to get pushed for right now. They saw the advantage, saw the man advantage that they had, and fully capitalized onto Game Ward, as we can see a fight happening in Checkpoint where the circle is going to be pulling away. Yeah, only a little sliver of Checkpoint is in that next circle, but with so many other squads making the rotation from the north side of Checkpoint, such as Alliance that we tuned into earlier after they used the Skyward Dive, and I believe one other team that's sharing up this real estate, Horizon, are looking to inch their way into that next circle, but they have to first make sure that their backs are cleared off.
Well, I mean, if you're going to hold the top at Checkpoint here, you need to hold this for as long as possible. But the issue is when that ring starts to pull, are you going to be forced off the high ground? Because I feel like you need to take it and get out of there sooner rather than later. Because the moment that you go to jump in, all of the eyes are going to be on you. But look who's in an engagement already. It's going to be Na'Vi. It's going to be Vex. And Na'Vi looking a little worse for wear right now. But Xron right now trying to put as much damage down as possible. Following up with a nice stick. If you're going to get him, you've got to get that stick onto him. Now Vex going to have a very hard time as Unlucky falls down.
True to his name, as Vex Gaming get deleted here, Na'Vi had a bit of the edge though in terms of information, because this is the team that was playing on the edge, looking on the outskirts at the Vex versus Game Ward fight originally. So they knew that Vex wanted to rotate in this direction. They didn't want to rotate through the choke point, that this chaos is going down. And as Nightmare Esports are playing inside the outskirts of one of these buildings, watch out for those arc stars though. You gotta juggle it like you're in a circus. They're going to be backing up after getting some of that information with that exhibition, but now getting out of that range, they're just looking to reset, looking to their backs to make sure that no other squad wants to rotate around this rock, because if they're forced to go into this next circle, they want to go through this position because they're already going to get gate kept by the other teams inside of the buildings.
Yeah, and I think that's something that you have to be critically aware of. There's so many choke points here in this particular area of the map, but VZN finding some real estate on the inside, but we've talked about this, that Seer, Horizon, Valcomp is not going to allude to having some reinforcements, but Nightmare Esports running into a little bit of a scuffle here on the outskirts with that ring closing. They're going to have to pick a side. Which way do we want to go in? And it's going to have to be this one. There's no time to go back in on this. So you're going to be rotating in underneath that, and VZN's going to be there waiting in that building. But Aurora, Vicky, this was your team to watch, getting a little bit spicy against Na'Vi as Cleavy is down right now. Can Malion and Ranches answer back and be able to get this on the way?
There's so many fights happening on each choke point, power off checkpoint. You can see Aurora holding on to tier. Life Ranch is popping the Phoenix Pit. Quite literally the definition of one. You can try to make up some makeshift cover if you're on the Cossack, but Navi approaching from the low ground are continuously beaming down Aurora. The missile swarm not finding it just yet, but Rugby from behind gets pinged by a wingman. Who's on the other side? Then no other than Horizon, who have inched their way down from checkpoint while not giving up the high ground at the same time. A lot of these teams aren't inside this next circle, and let's not forget Scars called this circle first, as Navi are in a lot of trouble losing out on Sanya.
This is going to be super spicy. This is not the position you want to find yourself in. You do not have the advantage here, but your nade is going to throw a lot of damage down. It's going to help you, right? But they have to go ahead and get this reset sooner rather than later. And Alliance right now still holding a high ground advantage. Mandy dropping down, hitting that grab lift, hitting that bat. This is exactly why I feel like Mandy getting back on Horizon was a good choice as the shots go out. Sure, he's going to get taken down in that 2v1, but Yuki and Hawkes back in for the action to clean it up.
Oh my goodness, the way that they just rotated outside of that fight into backing up the rest of the squad here. Alliance looking to reset. They got the gold knockdown shield here too. And with Horizon now creeping up on them, it's a good thing they had it as well. They also got the Watson ult as to play off to the side just to passively charge those evil shields. But the beamage and the high ground goes in favor to Alliance. As we jump into a listening with Alliance, we're going to see where the next moves are going to be.
He's over here.
Pump cells.
Oh. Left space, left side. 40 on this guy.
Yeah.
And he's looking for light.
We're gonna play right. Actually, no. Focus right side. Focus right side. Focus right side.
Okay.
We have the entire space. We have the tree here and the rock here.
120.
I'm sliding on. You guys hold cover. Go late as possible. As late as possible. You shoot as if you can. Shoot as much as you can.
We have to clear the left team. How much light ammo do you have, Monday?
No, dude, we're good. Just play the tree. Slide onto the tree. We can swing my right side and pitch him. Come.
Yeah.
We're swinging right side. I'm gonna see to this.
I'm with you.
I'm peeking.
You're looking.
Yeah, that's fine. We have the entire side. We're the entire side.
Yeah.
It's tilted as well. Just play slow.
Do we play
We
slow?
have the outside.
Minus.
Just play the
50
pitch
red.
them.
These guys
Take
fucked.
space.
These guys put you
I'm
outside.
trying to.
Okay.
One big kill bow. Kill bow. One big kill bow.
I can't shoot here.
We have to swing forward here, guys. I'm batting.
Wait, it's
40.
not.
Behind us. Send forward.
You're low right now.
Peeking me.
Forward.
Yeah. 50 on him. I'm queuing out here on me. Okay.
Nice. Send it.
I'm sending.
Nice. Arms up.
Oh no, and with those knocks one by one as they fall, Alliance are forcing their way in. Navi had one heck of a game, but it's only down to one here. 4 squads left for Alliance to actually dominate, and they forced their way into this circle. You can hear the comps coming down as Navi get finished off. 3 squads left with Alliance, Nightmare, and Horizon left in this lobby as unfinished squads, duos, rather, to play off of the one full squad that's alive, that is Alliance.
Look, if you're going to have numbers advantage, this is when you want it. I love the positioning here from Alliance. The comms were on point. You can tell that team synergy is working out so much better now that Mondi has taken on that role with Horizon, just so much more comfortable. And couple that with a Rampage that's getting heated up right now. You throw the Thermite in, they just need a line of sight, and you know the damage is about to ensue. The question is, will Horizon, Nightmare Esports, or Alliance come out on top? And look at the rock. They're a little bit separated, right? You got Hawkes right now taking a missile swarm to the face behind the rock. Horizon, that duo 0-0 and Urban trying to find something, anything that they can do, but Zero is going to fall. This is going to make the queue happen because Nightmare Esports has their attention on Horizon, and Alliance is just going to capitalize on this moment. You've got Alliance, you've got Nightmare Esports, the numbers advantage in the hands of Alliance. They just need to make this happen. Great black hole from Monty right now, and they're going to get sucked up in it now. All the damage going out. Monty, his last week here in the ALGS for Alliance, is going to come out on top here in map number 2.
Alliance coming on top, and they had so much KP to their name as well, Tiff. You could hear the comms. You could hear how they wanted to go for a split push as well. Nice off-angle position for Mandy to take, and I love the way that Alliance looked in that game because just like Scars taking game number 1 and I believe falling in 6th place overall in that second game, Alliance also desperately needed to make sure that they could gain some momentum themselves for this ALGS. While we take our breath here and we take a look at what went down for game number 2, why don't we bring Fallout back in? We missed them after game number 1. everyone. Follow, how are you doing after these last 2 games?
Doing fantastic, especially after these last 2 games. A brilliant start for Alliance and Scars in the top of the show. We questioned both of them as the biggest names, the biggest brands in EMEA and competitive Apex. Well, they both stepped up in games 1 and 2. That's talk about and much more as I welcome Spider Tiff back to join me for a post-game second. We'll let Vicky take a little bit of a break here, catch her breath after 2 crazy games, Tiff.
2 crazy games indeed. I cannot believe the action. We were asking, you said it best. Will Scars, will Alliance be able to step it up, and better now than late? You don't want to make sure that like you're end of split 1 trying to get into playoffs and you're at a disadvantage about to get relegated. You want to make playoffs. There's only 9 squads remaining. So Scars and Alliance are doing everything that they need to do today.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Let's break down that late game before we jump into the highlights here in just a moment. Alliance, and you all called to listen in beautifully. It was a perfect time to hear the excellence of Hockey's is an IGL. A lot of discussion this week that was prompted about top IGLs in the world. Hockey's is certainly in the top 7 for I think most people, probably even top 5 arguably, and it showed right there. His ability to completely and utterly navigate this team, the full respect he commands of the squad is so impressive, and ultimately they're hot and cold right there. Their ability to push up, be hot, get damage, and then back out, stay alive. You did enough damage, just survive was incredible.
Yeah, and I think that's a great way to highlight it. You saw kind of in the offseason leading into the Pro League that Hockey's kind of subbed in on a lot of different teams to really get some reps in, and I think his ability to work with a multitude of people and adapt really well just kind of excels as a leader. And now bringing in Mandy, sure, it's his last week here with the Alliance team in the ALGS potentially, but a great sub nonetheless. I think it was brilliant to make that move from Gibby to Horizon, and you can see just how much more comfortable it is in this current meta that's kind of happening, right? That aggressive nature, the black holes coming out at the perfect times, just absolutely stellar. And to be fair, at the top of checkpoint there, I was really nervous when they were going to get third party because they took that 3v3. Then they were able to reset super quick, jump down and position for that tree. You heard it in that listen. And we want the tree, we want the rock, we need that. And it panned out so well for them.
Yeah, that's a great point. If Horizon isn't a team of 3 right there, and if Urban gets rid of the wingman and opts for an R301 or something else, they likely get third partied up there in Countdown. So checkpoint. That's an interesting fight, an interesting situation. Alliance barely survives, and then you called it perfectly. Their ability to recognize, hey, we have this the entirety of this wide right angle, obviously using Seer to pick out information and intel, allowed them to gain map control and slowly just work their way in. So great job from Alliance in that late game there. I'm sure we'll catch that late game in the highlights here. Let's take a look at the highlights from game number 2. Tiff, walk me through the early game and some standout moments for you.
I mean, we still had some spicy moments, right? You can see Reply Totem. They did so well in map number 1. Unfortunately, going out super early here to Nightmare Esports in map number 2 and start a fight. Just so much chaos. We had the same contest, right? But it was a little bit different. And Vexed Gaming, the ability to go on that aggressive nature and to go ahead and disengage from that fight, recognize, hey, this is not a good push. We do not need to be here at this moment. But that's the thing. It's like, how do you bridge the gap from early to mid game and position yourself with KP in that end game? And I think that's the only key to the puzzle right now that Vexed Gaming is missing. And once they get that, they are going to be unstoppable.
I agree. Vex has been looking very, very strong. Their 3v3 edge, very aggressive nature has worked out well for them, but inability to get to late game. 2 games in a row here. That might be cost them the overall standings. Agree that that's kind of going to unlock their ultimate and full potential. Nightmare Esports, though, with a really solid game. We caught most of the action. They were able to make it into the late game, securing a top 3 finish. This is the fight between Alliance and Corpa that Alliance quickly came out on top before Horizon almost third party tip.
Yeah, they did this so well. They just kind of kept the pressure on them, and that was what they needed to do to make sure. But talk about keeping the pressure. That's going to be Navi. They were just constantly a thorn in the side of a lot of these teams that you wouldn't have necessarily thought. But then in the end, Alliance able to garner themselves some really nice positioning around that tree. Nightmare Esports making their way in as well. It was kind of like a triumvirate, right? It was like a triangle here and this open circle of Storm Point. And unfortunately, Horizon was the first team to go. And Alliance utilizing that black hole perfectly. When you thermite plus Rampage equals absolute decimation. And Mandy did such a good job right there. But look at these results. Fallout, Alliance. I don't know why I keep wanting to add like that little
Alliance. It is EMEA. You know, you're getting a little French accent in the mix. Just look, because.
I did study
Alliance.
French. I did study French. And I think that's what's happened. I studied abroad in Paris and Angers, and now my brain is not working. But alas, 9 eliminations coupled with that 12 placement points, 21 points. But we talked about this after map number 1 with Vicky. Look at the number of eliminations from Nightmare Esports, 11. So they've almost tied the fact that, yeah, they didn't get first, they got second, but they got 1 point less than Alliance.
Yeah, it's a very, very similar situation than we saw in game 1 with the top 2 teams. Second team almost fragging out enough to get the same amount of points as number 1 team. But Vex, here we go, 5 kill points. Kind of proving the point we're making, right? They're able to get kills, they're able to do really, really well on Edge, but their inability to rotate. I don't know if y'all saw the RKN HD tweet on Twitter of a video referencing the difference between Edge teams and center teams, but it feels like Vex is that ultra muscular Edge team, ability to take any fight, but the inability to make it and rotate into late game. We'll see if Vex can clean that up as we take a look at the overall series results. Despite their efforts, despite their skill and talent looking so sharp, Vex in 9th place right now, but only 2 games in. Kudos and props to Alliance, Nightmare Esports, Scars, all really within 1 point of the top 3. Horizon, Reply Totem right behind them, and Element 6 will round out your top 5 or top 6. So a lot of our same brands that we talked about that need to step up this week certainly have. Alliance and Scars included. Obviously on the second page, we had Fire Beavers, we had a few others that are looking for a better game number 3 here to close out Storm Point.
And I think you said it best, right? But consistency is key. And I don't want to kind of keep harping on the fact that Vex Gaming, but last matchup, right? They had a game 2, 0 points. So they haven't had a 0-point game yet. And they honestly haven't made it to late game just yet. So the moment they do that, I think they're going to shoot right up that leaderboard, but everyone doing what they need to do. It's a brawl. It's a brawl. And at the end of Split 1 Pro League, some of these teams are going to be making it to LAN, 9 of them. And the fact is, how is this even going to work out? Like, how do you pick 9 teams from such a stacked 3 groups?
Yeah, it's insane to think about. Of all of the talent we have in EMEA, only the top 9 will qualify through automatically, but the rest can qualify, of course, through points or last chance qualifiers to the Split 1 playoffs. But hey, as we're waiting for the lobby to load, it's almost loaded. We just got word. Server starting here in just a minute. Let's take a look at the final ring, because that was a really, really interesting play and really interesting moment of the final circle fight. You called it perfectly, Tiffany. The use of the black hole, thermite grenades right after. Brilliant from Alliance. Walk us through it.
Oh, yeah, they did everything. You heard it in that listen, and we're calling for that positioning, right? This moment right here, Moundy was able to get a line of sight because, yeah, that rampage, right? But Nightmare Esports had kind of nestled themselves in right here, and they had to go and become, little rock climbers to get up. Horizon had top tree, which I really like, but unfortunately, once Nightmare Esports turned their full focus onto Horizon, there was nothing they could do because it was 2 duos and a trio. They had the numbers advantage in the form of Alliance, and this was just that moment. And even with the Bruiser on the Wingman, this is one of those moments. I actually like the Bruiser on the Wingman, and that's just a hot take, I guess, because usually it's the red dot is much preferred, but I love the way they did this.
Exactly. Leemic actually helped that by getting the first knock on Horizon. Here's the ultimate. Here's the use of the thermite for Mandy. His thermites were on point, plus the thermite in the rampage. He was just ticking away with the care package LMG rampage. And in the end, a really, really great use to hold on to that black hole till very, very late game. Despite the fact that they could have used it a couple fights previously, they held on for the final ring, final circle, final moment. Alliance dominates. They come out on top. A really, really solid game for Alliance. A solid game for Scars in game number 1. And as a result, well, we have a pretty even distributed amount of points in the overall series results. The top 7, 8 all are vying for a first place spot. And guess what? Within that, we got the big brands. We got Totem. We got Alliance. We got Scars. We got so many more. But guess what? We got game number 3, the last game on Storm Point, to see who will end up on top before we head to World's Edge in game number 4. And to call the action, yet again, we got Spider Tiff and Vicky Kitty. Take it away.
Thank you so much, Follow. After that second game, Tiff, what is these overall leaderboards looking like right here? It is getting so close. I mean, not only did we see Reply Totem in game number 1 pop off and then fall early in game number 2, we just saw Nightmare Esports coming in with the second place finish and 11 kills. Double digits is always what I like to see from our lobbies.
I mean, they are doing everything that they need to be doing. And now the question comes in. We're going into the last game on Storm Point before jumping on over to World's Edge. And the consistency is going to be key. At this point, you cannot be on the screen with 0 points. You've got to keep your numbers up if you want to come out on the top of the leaderboard at the end of this 6-map series. And man, Storm Point is the last one of the day.
Oh, let's get started. Let's not waste any more time. Where are our 50-50s? Oh, look, it looks like GameWard and Echo Esports are already engaging early on. But while we take a look at our final POIs that we're seeing for the day in our EMEA region in Storm Point, I'm excited to see what our circle is going to be, because we had some of those two northern circles kind of pulling towards the middle north side of Storm Point, and that really did favor a lot of our teams when it came to those northern rotations. Is that going to persist, though? Because I'm excited to see teams like Nightmare Esports continue on this domination, because despite them not even taking first just yet, that second place finish and all the KP that they've secured themselves has allowed them to skyrocket in the overall leaderboards.
And I love that you bring that up, because any team still has the ability to do that, right? The spread is still pretty close there for the top three. You've got 26, 25, 25. This is the moment where you want to go ahead and strike, because if you wait till that sixth game, it's going to be a little too late. You don't want to be in the fifth and sixth trying to make a large jump. You want to get in there at the top of the leaderboard early, as we get some beautiful, beautiful shots. And potentially Echo, you know, all white shields now, in the words of Nice, like a couple napkins on your screen, not looking as well stocked as they have been on those first two Storm Point drops. Just trying to keep an eye out as, hey, where is GameWard?
Wondering, maybe up above. You see the Seer with Echo Esports. They've been sticking to this composition since the very beginning, but with the Seer passive on the heartbeat sensor, they have the information that they need to see where these players are situating themselves, especially since they're going to be traversing from the low ground. But they got the natural cover of the rocks to their right, kind of playing off the side of Down Beast to get out of the line of sight of GameWard.
Hey, and that's what you need to do. Oh, what you need to do is get in your crypto drone, and you just need to stalk your prey, find that information, and you know they are absolutely kidded. You've got the purple on Aimbot, you've got the blue on Yolu, and GameWard kind of in that mid-game had already lost out on Yolu, and I feel as if they weren't able to come back from that moment. When you are down a teammate towards mid-game, you don't really get nice resets. It's very rare that you're able to get maybe a Moby or find a respawn beacon, but this is the moment. Echo Esports, not necessarily having a shield advantage here, are pushing up. It feels like they're climbing up against a mountain to get to GameWard, as they are just being insinuated with damage here. Sure, they're able to get a crack onto the Valk, but that doesn't matter. They just need to play this. But the little rocks, the little head peek, Vicky.
Oh, but you know, with a lot of these early 50-50s going on, I think another team has gotten whiff of what's been going on, and I think VZN had just made an appearance into this third party. Echo Esports, recognizing this, have backed up. They have some information, but they're trying to play this patiently, because GameWard, as you can see them taking a look at their backs, they note that there is another team in this area, but GameWard have the health advantage, like you mentioned. You see Aimbot with the purple Evo. Yeah, they're still working off of white Evo, off of that crypto. You can see Side taking a lot of pressure, forced to pop the shield back, but in some nice beamage off to the side, off the left field from GameWard to prevent Echo Esports from pushing in onto that.
Oh, this is going to be absolutely spicy, because you think these teams didn't get enough time. Bardo gonna fall. Looks like Herald within an inch of their life. Zuni, the Seer, going to have to keep the dream alive. But a lot of these players, it's going to be Zane from VZN being that kind of thorn in the side and just decimating both of these teams. If you're going to third party, you got to wait until there's a lot of damage going out. And now Aimbot just like, hey, is this my time to just disengage from the fight? We've seen this happen prior, but no, going in and putting the finishing touches into Echo Esports, now being the first team out of this lobby. But you got to turn your attention onto VZN, and just like that, GameWard gonna be done and dusted, and VJ Zane Knox getting all of the splendors from those teams, but Horizon also falling early as well.
To the hands of Corpo. That's another fight that was happening on the other side. 3 squads escorted right back to the lobby, as VZN are gonna be able to capitalize off of all the extra loot that they were wondering, why weren't they invited to the party? You know, it better show up late than never, and they did it so patiently too, as we tune into Nightmare in the middle of their rotation. Look at the loot that they're working off. They got 2 purple Evos. They're feeling great after that last game, but all right, Zay taking a lot of that damage, backing up from that, as Nightmare Esports looking to cover his back just in case. You see the 30-30 repeater right back in the hands of Limac, who's been having, by the way, an amazing day, securing so much KP. I think Limac alone has been able to get 8 kills over the course of the last 2 games. So really good situation for Nightmare, as it's Reply Totem on the other side of Jurassic Park.
Ooh, that's actually really great for Limac. I love that for them. But Reply Totem, they were kind of looking a little inconsistent. We saw them go out incredibly early in map number 2. So map number 3, they need to bring it back. They have the ability to do so. And I think they're kind of well kitted. Nightmare Esports forced to kind of go back to this little pineapple. I like to call them pineapples, you know, little SpongeBob vibes, but I don't think they're done just yet, right? They kind of want to keep an eye on that position, and now just looking in, where is my next moment? Where is that next good fight going to be? Because I think they're playing incredibly smart and calculated, right? They know, hey, maybe this push isn't going to be where I'm needed. So let's disengage and look for something else. But this fight in Jurassic, it's always a really peculiar place to take fights. You've got every bit of information because it's the dead center. Everyone's gonna hear this. And as I say everyone, look who's here. It's Aurora.
Oh, and they're making an appearance between two squads, which I don't think this is the spot that they want to hold in, but I'm not surprised that we're seeing so many teams rotate through Jurassic Park right now, because in that building that Nightmare Esports have bunkered down in, that is where the beacon is, and that's going to be the main beacon that a lot of these teams rotating away from Barometer, if there's no beacon there, or even an antenna, they want to be able to secure that information to plan their next move, especially a team like Aurora, since they're rocking the Caustic. They have the information from the Bloodhound, but it's not like the Seer where you could utilize that heartbeat sensor to look behind you. You would have to wait for the scan cooldown to end as, all right, Melon may be able to get some of the beamage off of the R301 is always nice to see, even though the Bangalore smoke was sent out. That choke point is going to get contested by that team, and since Aurora doesn't have the information of that next circle, they're not going to be able to plan their next moves in the way where they could feel comfortable to do so, because I do believe the circle is going to continuously pull towards the north, towards the command center Stormcatcher area, and if that's the case, getting past this choke point with a ready reply totem getting ahead of the game is going to be in a position where they're going to be prone to getting circle kept.
I think this is going to be one of those moments where those teams that play hard zone are going to benefit from, right? Because there's not a lot of real estate that's going to be available when you have 17 squads remaining trying to kind of bunker down in that Stormcatcher command center area. Sure, maybe some teams will be coming in from the Thunderwatch side, and you're going to have a lot of issues as you battle your way into that next zone. But the question is, command center is always a hot and spicy area. You have so much loot, so many different ways to access it. It's like, hey, if you're going to be bunkering down in there, how do you effectively hold down that entire space? But no questions asked. If you're playing a comp like Vexed Gaming, you know you're just hunting for your next prey at this point. So I'd like to see them get through this mid game a little more safely and be able to capitalize on their micro 3v3 fights and just show us what we know they're capable of doing.
With their plan, actually, I like this if they opt to go on the outskirts of the circle to go for a longer rotate. It looks like they're just trying to see what they do first and maybe catch any stragglers that are rotating late into this next circle. But if they end up doing that, they'll be situated on the high ground instead of having to come from that low to high ground between Stormcatcher and Thunderwatch, because that's a very tricky choke point to be in, especially if you rotate early. And look at this. So there's already another team that's taking up the real estate right across from them, and it's actually Na'Vi that have a bit of a split real estate here to control this entire lot. If Na'Vi take on this fight, though, we can expect already squads that are already sitting at Stormcatcher to put in some poke pressure from Na'Vi and onto the other squad that's rotating right behind them.
It's going to be essentially like ringing a dinner bell at this point for KP. Yeah. And now Na'Vi. I'm pretty sure Vexed and Na'Vi are kind of going at it for these first two matches because they really not necessarily put a thorn in the side, but you can see Black Hole going out from Sonya right now, just trying to keep them out of the building. But you know what? You can't keep Vexed out forever. Unlucky connecting a lot of important shots here and just going in and cheeky through the window with the Eva 8, just punishing Na'Vi from staying inside. But the issue is, you mentioned it best, Vicky, they're going to get poked and prodded from any team in a nearby vicinity.
Yeah, and look who it is. I believe we just saw Corpa make an appearance in this fight. Now Batafi is running for his life. Vex Gaming down two of those members. As you can see, that last straggler not going to get chased down by Na'Vi, as Na'Vi recognized there is another team on the outskirts of this building. Can they reset is the question here. Some of our building doors have been blown up. You can see them now trying to take these different off angles to prevent that Seer tactical from actually cutting off the ability to Kyo here too.
The fact that Corpa just pushed in, took down what they could, allowed Na'Vi to just full reset inside, and is just like, nah, you know what, Na'Vi, good luck. I want to see you in game. But let's cut on over to Nightmare Esports. They're at the top of your leaderboard right now with 26 points and looking to really own this rock, poke fighting that 30-30 going out. But I don't know if that's going to be the best place, because you are going to have to start looking for real estate as Limek gets absolutely punished and is just running for their life right now.
Yeah, gotta dance, gotta schmove, prevent these prowlers from biting at your ankles here too. Light Mech is gonna be able to at least pop up that shield bat, but they're getting pinged from across the field by another team. He has little to no health right now. He's gonna be able to slide down, pop that shield bat as we take a look at Aurora, one of our other squads that are looking to rotate on the high ground here. Still, again, nice to note, the Caustic, the Bloodhound, and the Bangalore, a team comp that won't allow them to bunker down comfortably. E6 as well, looking like they're in a fight as Alliance are playing off of the outskirts of where the circle is. Thunderwatch now with E6 having control over that building. They wanted to predict that the circle was going to continuously push in this north side, but Life been getting pinged from right behind. It's Mandy taking a nice angle with the G7.
Well, this is what they need to do. Alliance, your map 2 winners, really trying to put a thorn in the side, but Slayers on that lifeline is going to be able to consistently go in and hit that res, but Alliance just punishing them. Now going to go ahead and just see if they can finish off E6, but trying to find as many cheeky angles as they can, and they're just trying to tank the storm and get a nice little reset, but I don't think that they're going to be able to do it. But you see, K-Swinny and Slayers must have just real full pushed out into, oh my gosh, they are. They're going to go for a rotate around, but I hope they have the heals. We see 5 syringes in the hand of K-Swinny. This is spicy. Vex Gaming going out.
Yeah, E6 now forced to actually rotate from around. Vex Gaming going down as well. That's the chaos that's happening over in Stormcatcher. That's what happens when so many teams are sharing that real estate. They're going to be able to grab the banner with the crypto drone before making their moves around the hillside because they got to get moving soon. I believe there's now minute 30 seconds left for that circle to close in. And Nightmare Esports, the team that are topping the overall leaderboards, looking to continue on their domination. You can see that they've been putting in some poke pressure, but they're not in that next circle just yet. They're on the outskirts, taking their time to see which of these other squads that are rotating on the edge of the circle. There's definitely a squad that's on that hillside between Stormcatcher and Thunderwatch, and I'm worried for teams like Alliance who are so fixated on trying to clean up any stragglers that are left over from E6.
Talk about someone picking off stragglers. That's going to be Fire Beavers. They're taking out Foot Esports, and Amphi from V2 going under siege right now, just trying to nestle in, forced to hit that Phoenix kit. At least the team camaraderie is here. It's like throwing resources at you. Luckily, they've been able to pick up through the end game, but this is where that uphill battle is about to start. You've only got a couple of rocks to dive under, and Nightmare Esports have found themselves some Nox gas traps from a former Caustic team. You know Aurora must have been through here at some point throughout this game, and I kind of like this, right? Sure, there's a lot of areas, and this could be really unfortunate if some Arc Stars or Thermites come into your area, but if you just lay low here and just play under Stormcatcher, you're open to a lot of LOSs or line of sights, but just play your game. There's still 15 squads remaining here in round 3.
Yeah, we see some stragglers already dropping like flies. Aurora, you made mention of it. The Caustic traps laid out a trap. Those pesky traps sometimes could be a thorn on your side, but it's about making a statement. And the beamage coming in as well from Cleve with the R301. We talked about the 3-time scope earlier on. It was earlier on in the rotation before the rotation was swapped out. Element 6 now getting taken out. That was a team that was rotating around the circle who were getting gate kept by Alliance. Doesn't look like they were able to make it out on that side of the storm, or just pressured out in general from Alliance, who are now going to finally make their move to go into the circle from the high ground of the uphill battle that is happening north of Stormcatcher. Aurora, though, they have the right Evo shield from Ranches, and they have enough of the health advantage to continue on this pressure as well as the positioning advantage, but I don't see them fully sending it here. They want to make sure that they can maintain this real estate with any other spot that can rotate from behind them, looking to take their spot.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be really critical if they can keep this building maintained. You can really control the space with Malion on that Caustic, able to secure. Sure, the doors have been blown wide open, but if you're not going to push a building with a Caustic in it, you're just not at this point in time. So this moment is perfectly. They're able to kind of weasel their way out of this building, look for some easy lines of sights, maybe find and resupply on some loot, but that Bangalore able, oh, even better. You've got the Digi threat on the car, so you can see through your smoke, and you're going to couple that with the Bloodhound. This composition is my favorite as they just lay down so much pressure on the team on the outskirts of this building.
Ooh, with the beamage out here too. Look at that, the smoke actually making some damage here too. Aurora now looking to back off for right now. Let's take a look and hear out their comms in a listening to figure out what they're gonna do if they just want to hold on to this real estate.
Готов. Да, спина в любой момент ебется, но не свалькай.
Надо вместе зоной идти, да, не торопись. Под мой ульту, Клифф.
Хорошо, дохиливай до конца. Смотрят, раньше справа.
Не знаю.
За ресурсы убиваются эти.
Подними
Сканнами.
Малик, подними
Трое,
склад.
их трое.
Да, этих трое, это фугу. Сзади у тебя 2 склада, Малик. Один в тоннеле где-то вот с этой стороны, и один вот тут.
Понимаю, валькуется кто-то.
Got a live one out there.
Под нами файт, у спины файт, спина отвлеклась, сейчас на файт
красится.
смотрит. Спина смотрит на файт, нейды кидает. Файт вот там.
Не, они просто закидывают нижних челов, там и
Ну, они
катушка.
смотрят.
Спина вышла. Дал 60, Horizon. Аккуратно там скаут.
Еще 30.
Скан 20. Внутри верхние залетели обратно.
Не, они там стоят.
Филипп, пошли этих душить. Похуй, Малик, смотри, спину.
Сейчас, дай откилить 2 секунды. Иду. Скан 2. Даю. Не видно отсюда. Ульта есть. Жду кола.
Да, надо будет что душить.
Ультую.
Моя ульта.
Я спину контролирую.
Horizon есть.
Давай.
Спина вниз упала, спина вниз под нас упала. Проходить будут. Слева.
Аккуратно.
Валькуется спина.
Все, Клим, Малик, иди к нам, Малик, надо
Я иду
идти.
к вам ульту
убивать.
давать, иду к вам ульту
Давай.
Там
я
катушка
флешку
есть.
даю.
Love being able to hear the different comms from our different teams from different regions in the EMEA region as Aurora are looking to fully send it down. 12 spots left in this lobby and Aurora are taking on this fight against Nightmare. They trade 1 for 1. Navi eliminated and defeated. Aurora dancing and running from their lives here when it comes to the ring closing in behind them. Rich is getting that knocked out at the very end. Nightmare still come out on top from that fight. Limac being the last one standing, but here comes Corpa, who were in the area, who were ready to get involved, only leaving 3 tricks alive, managing to recover both these banners. But what a chaotic mess this southern side of the circle was.
Look, this is not a zone that I would ever want to play, but being on the desk, getting to witness the absolute chaos of this mess, we are just on the south side of Thunderwatch. It's a hilly mess, right? There's rocks. Okay, and you are kind of nestled up at the very top. This is the way to play this. You are putting yourself in a god spot. Now the question is, will a team go super aggro and try to push onto them? We know Vex isn't in this, like they're already out, so no one is really going to chow them, but we think Alliance might be in the vicinity because the last we saw, they were kind of gatekeeping E6 up in this area. And yeah, that is exactly who it is. Alliance right now looking so strong. They have the ability to get that high ground with the grab lift. So I'd be curious to see, will they turn their sights onto Scars nestled down over there? Or will they just try to fight off everyone that's making their way up this hill?
Well, it looks like IGA Alliance was the first squad to go down out of these 6 squads that were fighting for their lives to get up onto the high ground. Alliance have that positional advantage, like you mentioned before. They're in a really good spot. They don't have to give up this rock because you could see the squad creeping up to their right from the low ground, looking to have that opportunity if Alliance decide to get aggressive onto Scars. With the Seer, though, being on the side of Alliance, they're going to have that information. I believe it is Game of Drones that are trying to make their way uphill from the right side. So Alliance with the split push and Mandate being on the left side, he's got his eyes on Scars. He's got his eyes on the squads that are to his left, so rather his right side down below, so that way he can have a nice split look of information between all the other squads left over in the entirety of this final circle. They're not in this next circle, so they're forced to actually inch forward.
Oh, you can see the crypto drone trying to go out with the EMP exhibits up all around, and Alliance are taking the brunt of the force. Rovic able to grab it down onto Yuki, so that's going to be really preferential if all of the teams start to focus Alliance, because look at the thermites just eating Alliance alive right now, and Scars reaping all the benefits. And you're right, Game of Drones right now just trying to play that teammate Jules knockdown shield. Brunt of more thermites. This is what I like. If you're going to the end game, make sure you're packed with ordinances, because this is so great to throw a lot of that initial damage out. Corpa out. Now 4 squads remaining. Start a fight. You got Game of Drones. Alliance is somehow alive, and Scars as well. But Game of Drones, the focus of the entire lobby, trying to get them out. And Rondon last alive for the team. Can you keep it alive here?
Oh, Alliance Mandy being the last one alive. You wondered how they were still alive, and Game of Drones go down before the Mandy coming in clutch for Alliance. Not only only staying alive, but avoiding all the pressure that thermite grenade from Scars put down on the rest of Alliance that enabled Game of Drones to move in for a third party. Now look at this position from Mandy. He doesn't need to overextend. He doesn't need to poke at all. It's Certified Esports that are now making an appearance to the south side of Scars, who have been playing this patiently, who works with this team composition that they're running. It works beautifully for the plans that they have with the circle to their back.
Yeah, but how do you penetrate the forces of Scars over there? You've got the fortress that they have made for themselves. They have the Watson Jenny down. They still had another Newcastle ultimate available to them, so they just moved their wall even further down south, and they're trying to go ahead and get Alliance out of this lobby, and Hiarka right now going forward once again. What is Start a Fight going to do? You do not have a clean LOS on that team right there, but you've got a Watson Jenny of your own. My question is, will both of these teams elect to like put their forces to getting Mandy out of this lobby, or will they take a pure 3v3 and Mandy just come in at the very end? Please tell me you have ult management here and you have that black hole available for you.
Oh, I'm excited to see what Mandy's going to be able to do, because these squads, yeah, they're focusing their attention to at least pick up that last straggler. But Mandy literally living to the very edge of his life. He's not going to show up and be front-facing in an open field. The Certified Esports are looking to engage. They get pressured out. They back up. A nice disengaged call from Certified Esports now as they back up. They're going to replenish a lot more of their health. An Alliance with Mandy being forced out with the circle to his back. What is he going to do? He's going to be taking some circle damage. He needs to move forward.
Oh, PK in hand, hits for 99. That's a knock on to Jerovic. But now the issue is, what is going to happen? Scars right now finally putting the finishing touches onto Mandy before they turn their attention to Start a Fight. But will it be enough? You've got Bambino and Blast still alive, and they're just looking for Scars right now at the top of the rock. You are climbing, shields cracked, and that's going to be it. Start a Fight Esports coming out on top against Scars here in map number 3.
Man, it helped grief Scars right there. They were like, get him right now. Start a Fight says, yes, please. That open field allowed Start a Fight to close in the gap, because Alliance not only had just Mandy left to just deal with the fact that the rest of Scars were pushing it on him, but he knew that he pulled all the attention away from Scars. That was an insane play at the very end of that game.
I mean, it's just actually so comical. They did that so well, and Mandy just griefing. You are right. Just like putting down so much damage. Start a Fight, kind of doing exactly what we saw Foot Esports do, right? Just play their time, right? You just need to make sure you're looking at the line of sights. They couldn't get something that was super clean, but they bode their time. They come out on top. But hey, I thought Scars was going to be able to run it back to back. Get 2 wins.
Yeah, that would have been very impressive. Fallout, let's bring you back in after an intense game number 3. The end's right there. I need to get your thoughts, because Mandy came in clutch for Alliance at the very end. Yeah, you still got third, but it's the fact that you took away the extra 12 points that Scars would have gotten if they ended up winning the game.
Absolutely. Yeah, the biggest thing I want to talk about just for a split second before I welcome both of you back in for a little bit of a halftime show here is Mandy. Mandy made a little bit too much noise, was a little bit too big right there, and then ultimately the decision for Scars to try and take out the solo is what got them eliminated in the end. So you question some of those decisions there. Mandy for making so much noise, and then ultimately Scars for deciding to grief the solo as opposed to the 3v3. But let's bring both of you back in for a halftime discussion, because I'd be curious to get your thoughts. In that scenario, is Scars better off letting Mandy just continue to live over there and be a bit of a nuisance, or taking the 3v3 instead against the final team remaining, or do you think it's the right decision, Tiff, to try and push the solo?
I mean, now knowing that Mandy kind of was the thorn in the side of Scars, I would have aped Mandy. I'd be like, you know what? I don't care at this point, because then you get rocked, but you are going to lose that protection. If maybe I had another Newcastle wall or something to myself, you could have thrown that back down and then put your full force ready to take on Start a Fight and took that 3v3. But Mandy was just living his best life over there. He's probably laughing, having so much fun. I'd be nervous, but he was probably thrilled.
That's right. He was an absolute thorn in the side. And you already know big old man, he's not going to go down swinging, all right? That man's going to give a PK to the face to make sure that he can at least take out one with him, which is exactly what he did. And in the end, Scars loses to Start a Fight. But let's talk about Start a Fight for a second. We've been highlighting Alliance and Scars often with the first 2 wins, and they, of course, both make it to the top 3 in Game 3. But SAF, a team that we highlighted in the pre-show, is a dark horse team you have to keep an eye out for. I mentioned Bambino. His individual performances have been immaculate. Doctors and, of course, his Twitter content, in addition to the 3 of them as a team, have been looking great, Vicky.
Yeah, Start a Fight, by the way, before that game, I believe overall were ranked in last. So they desperately needed that dub before we move away from Storm Point, enter World's Edge, because off of that win alone, even though it was the last game that they played on Storm Point, they could carry that momentum starting on World's Edge. They could get basically a fresh new page to kind of take control of, because this is the start for Start a Fight to actually build up that momentum.
Yeah, that's a great point. 3 more games on World's Edge will give them that opportunity, but a great last game on Storm Point to keep them in the running. And just based on the way the standings have laid out so far, Tiff, really any team can still win this tournament. I think the Max team in first place had like 25 to 28 points. So let's take a look at Game 3 highlights here and showcase that Start a Fight obviously ended up on top, put themselves in the running, but a couple other teams obviously making some noise throughout. Tiff, Vicky, walk me through it.
You got Echo Esports. It is the absolute war of attrition over here at the Down Beast at the start of the game. But Hockey's right there, had the charge rifle in his hand for that early game. And you know I'm a huge fan. A lot of these teams just looking so strong. But the call's into question. It's if you can make it into the end game with the numbers advantage and have like the resources that you need to find success. Because we saw that. Scars, Alliance, how many ordinances did they have available to them to throw out at the very end?
Yeah, you just saw that BZN as well at the very beginning got involved in that third party. A lot of these squads making that quick adaptation to time their early fights better. As Aurora were able to take up the real estate on the other side too before we saw the chaos go down between themselves, Corpa, another squad actually getting involved in that fight here too. It was a fight for this hillside too that we were highlighting at the very beginning that could be really tricky if you go for those early rotates, because you saw a lot of squads like Alliance that were coming in from the high ground that were doing a really good job at taking advantage of the early position that they capitalize off of.
Yeah, agreed. But here's the moment where Aurora gets taken out, opting against the Wraith here. They're going to go back on that bone. They're going to actually instead opt to play Bangalore and Caustic. Ranch is doing everything he possibly can, but Aurora get taken out early yet again. Interesting to see how many kill points they had, and we'll break that down on the leaderboards in a second. But here's the late game moment. Scars start a fight in a solo in Mandy, and they ultimately decide, this is right slightly before that, but they ultimately decide to push Mandy as a solo here. Tiff, walk me through it.
I mean, look at the bunker down force, and this is where Mandy just kind of trying to stay alive at the point, just taking down Game of Drones, then just being the thorn in Scars' side. But they had such a good bunker here and start a fight, trying to like preach over the fact that Scars was there, but going back and making sure that they have that fight. Then they just clean it up, come out on top. It was just absolutely classic. Well done by them.
Agreed. Let's take a look at the Game 3 results. Start a Fight first place. Only 4 kills to their name, though, so coming from the bottom of the leaderboard, 16 points will help them, but they have to have a big games 4 through 6. Scars and Alliance right behind them. Winners of games 1 and 2 respectively. Another 13 and 14 point game respectively as well. Game of Drones though also show some great things. In Corpo with the edge, aggression, and 8 kill points. Incredibly impressive stuff. As we take a look at the series results. Overall standings for the day, and it's sorry, page 2, I apologize. Aurora with 3 overall points. So again, Vicky, not the edge fighting Storm Point that we saw last week from Aurora. They quiet down a little bit. They simmer.
Yeah, it didn't work out for them when they were forced to approach from the low ground to high ground, but it did work out in favor for Alliance despite them getting third place. That 7 KP in comparison to Scars and start a fight with only 4 KP to their name is going to allow Alliance to still maintain their position on the top end of the overall leaderboards.
Yeah, so we get a little more top heavy as well. Now, let's take a look at the series results. Speaking of top heavy, it's Alliance and Scars, the 2 big brands and names of EU back on top. Hockey's Mandy as a substitute alongside Yuki in first, but barely. Scars right behind him with 38. Nightmare Esports, though. Again, another Dark Horse type team, 31 points. Reply Totem with the big pickup of Jazz this season. Looking pretty solid as well, but you'll see from 3rd place all the way down to 15th place with Vexed even further down. Truly, one big pop-off game can shake up our top 5. Interesting stuff here, Tiff.
Interesting stuff indeed, but now I just can't help but smile, right? We talked about it in the pre-show, Alliance and Scars, and they are just, it's working out in their favor, or at least Storm Point is. Before we head on over to World's Edge, I'm hoping they can carry that consistency forward, but this is a tight race. We knew that this B versus Group C matchup was going to be incredibly feisty. Feisty is the word that I'm looking for. That is what it is, and they are doing it. They are bringing us the action, everything that we wanted. I know that I'm sitting on the edge of my seats right now. My hands are just a little bit sweaty because the action's so crazy, and now I'm just happy. I'm just happy, Fallout.
Right there with you. Right. If I could pick one word to define Mandy's personality, it's feisty. I like that one. I'm just playing. Shout out to Mandy. Taking a look at Yuki, though. It's Yuki of Alliance on top of the kill leaderboards, tied with Limik in second place with 8. The Polish sensation, former Kick Esports squad. Rugby representing CIS right behind. Rounds out the top 3. Taishin, the CEO, Amaze, Mandy, and a few others representing the overall top 10. So right now, even the kill leaderboards race is neck and neck. That just goes to show how competitive this Group B versus C pairing is. Just like you said, Tiff, it's been truly an even distribution of skill across the board here. But now shifting gears a little bit to World's Edge. Alliance obviously dropping Thermal Station, where they like to play. They have a ton of experience on Thermal Station. You got to think Alliance is just going to continue to perform here, Vicky, given how much experience they have on World's Edge. Do you agree?
Yeah, I definitely agree there, but I also want to pinpoint that Nightmare Esports, all 3 members on that squad, by the way, were able to make it into the top 10 of that overall kill leaderboard. So that's something else to take note of before we dive into World's Edge. But I'm definitely going to highlight here Alliance, who are doing such a good job here, Tiff. I know you highlighted them specifically to see what they were able to do and their rotations from the high ground.
I mean, that's what they needed to do. I was a little nervous if they were going to loom into that checkpoint area for a little bit too long, but that was a beautiful listen-in because it really provided a lot of insight to kind of their next moves, right? Because we don't always get to hear those player comms, so we don't get the decisions. We kind of just sit back and we try to analyze that, but they did that right. And now I think if they carry all of that momentum forward to World's Edge into Thermal Station, they're going to do great.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you, Tiff. On the flip side of Alliance, well, the opposite end of the spectrum is Nightmare. A dark horse team, not necessarily a big brand team. Vicky, they are in the top 3 right now. Nightmare Esports has been looking great.
Absolutely. I mean, this is not a name I'm unfamiliar with. We've seen this team make their appearance in the competitive Apex Legends space time and time again, and they're looking to keep their name on board. Nightmare Esports have had amazing pop-off games for the last 3 games, but nice to highlight the fact that even though they haven't taken a dub, they're a very kill-heavy squad, and they need to continue on that domination going into World's Edge if they want to see themselves in contention against a team like Alliance.
Yeah, agreed. You mentioned not a team we are unfamiliar with seeing. You're spot on. Former Kick Esports squad. They've won ALGS online tournaments or championships before. Not necessarily overall champs, but at least they've got a couple dubs under their belts. We know what the Polish squad can do, but 7 is a new third for this team. Limik and Denze have been playing together for a long time, years. They pick up 7 as a new free agent, and they are looking pretty solid here so far, at least. We got 3 more games to go. World's Edge, games 4 through 6 will be live when we come back right after this. Quick break. Welcome back, everybody, to the ALGS Pro League Day 3 EMEA. Great start so far for Alliance, Nightmare, and Scars. The rest, well, they have an opportunity. They're only about 15 to 25 points behind. And much like we saw, obviously, we're switching over to World's Edge here, Tiff. Much like we saw in the North American broadcast for those that watched it on Thursday, FaZe was non-existent on Stormpoint, had a dominant, well, decently existent, had a dominant World's Edge, was able to sneak into the top 2. So will we see something similar here today, or in your prediction, in your eyes, do you think we're going to continue to see it be so top-heavy with Alliance and Scars?
I I mean, possibly. The fact is, World's Edge been competitive for so long. These teams are so well versed. They know these maps, every rotation. You can call out every little spec. If you know that the zone is pulling, you're going to be able to read that so quick. You know, hey, I've got to get there. I don't want to get like held up in any choke points. I'm avoiding Harvester in any way, shape, or form as long as I don't want to rotate through there because it's the rotation of death. So yeah, I think if you didn't perform well on Storm Point, you're going to find a lot of success here because it's just a little bit different.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you. You know, my thoughts on that, well, to be honest, if it was any other team, I'd say, yeah, there's a good chance that, you know, bottom 10 teams can bring it back. But the fact that, to your point, it's Alliance and Scars who have so much World's Edge experience, I think they're going to continue to inch it out. I think you're going to continue to see them stay on top. On the flip side, though, we do have Vexed Gaming, and not only Vex, but Aurora, team we had high expectations for coming in. They're in the bottom 10 teams right now, so they will have to step up here on World's Edge. Guess what? Gameplay is ready. The dropship is flying across World's Edge. Game number 4 for EMEA, day 3. Ladies, take it away.
Thank you so much, Fallout, and I'm excited to jump into World's Edge because I gotta say, no bias, but World's Edge is obviously one of my favorite maps, and I'm excited to see how the bottom end of the overall leaderboard is gonna work into what some of these teams need to do to put themselves back on the board. Like what Fallout was just saying, I was expecting more from Aurora.
Hey, you know, I kind of was too, right? Like, they are so strong. And I think this is a moment where they maybe need to reassess, right? You went down through 3 maps. So now we're going into that second half of the series. We are moving on to World's Edge. It's kind of that fresh start. And we're getting that ring that's going to pull up towards the countdown landslide area. So a lot of these teams like Game Ward, Horizon, they're going to find a little bit of success because they're not going to have those large rotations. Whereas someone that might be landing Big Mod, the Dome, you're going to be traveling halfway across the map.
Yeah, and you know, actually talking about Big Mod, Lava City, etc. Scars getting all the loot in Big Mod is great, but usually when we see a squad land in Big Mod, they also have some real estate in Lava City, and that's actually going to be shared by Foot Esports. So they're not only going to have the loot in Lava City, they're also going to have the beacon. So you could expect an early fight maybe going down, depending on Scars wants to play this. If they want to stick to their overall patient playstyle, though, they may just prioritize rotating instead, like we've been seeing with a lot of these other squads that want to be able to work into the Newcastle and Watson compositions the best way that they can. Now going into World's Edge, though, Tiff, I have to ask you, looking at Start of Fight, looking at the fact that they're still sticking to the Crypto and Watson, are you expecting any compositional swap-ups from some of our teams now that we are on World's Edge?
It's kind of hard to say. Maybe 1 or 2 might elect to make that change, but we saw so many teams finding that comfort in that Valkyrie Horizon that I think if you're going to play that on Storm Point, you'll probably keep that team composition the same moving into World's Edge. Caustic's still very viable here on World's Edge as well, especially if you're going to have to bunker down in some of these buildings. I think it's going to prove fruitful. You see LFO Forever, they've still got Crypto, Watson, Valk, so it may be kind of few and far between, and we'll note it as we see it, but right now I think they're going to play what they're consistent with.
That's such a good point, because that could be the name of the game for a lot of these teams and what they are playing into their biggest comfort. And as you can see, LFO Forever, Light, let's just quickly take in the jump tower just to let everybody know, hey, you know what, we're here. It doesn't matter, though. There's no beacon where we wanted to go originally, where you usually see that building that's to the south of where LFO is actually rotating towards. Sometimes you do see a beacon there, and that beacon is spot over really early in the game by any teams that are exiting Skyhook, any teams that are leaving Fragment West. So with this quick rotation from LFO, they're looking to get ahead of the curve on top of any other teams because they want to be able to get that beacon, especially with the fact that they have Crypto. You can see some teams already getting ahead of the curve here too, already landing over here by Lava Fisher.
I kind of like this move, right? Game Ward pushing into Lava Fisher out of Countdown. You get the benefits of getting all of the shields from Countdown in that middle area, and now you're able to utilize that information, especially coupled with the Crypto drone. Well, I mean, if you can get out the door first, totally fine. No, don't block the drone inside, everyone, but at least you can open doors. You can do a lot of things with it, but you're going to be able to scout out your rotations, those nearby teams, and you can see right now, someone is looming nearby. The question is, are you going to be kitted out and ready? And if you're gonna run a shotgun wingman here, now I'm just having flashbacks of like bald skins and rank.
Trying to get a little head glitch too off to the side of the crate here. You know, that's usually what I'm used to seeing with the bald-headed wraiths I play in my lobby. The Game of Drones, though, taking their time as well, already securing the real estate inside of this building, landing some shots with that G7 with the 3x scope and the purple extended light max. So great resources that Game of Drones are working off of, as well as playing a little bit split up here to secure this entire side of the train tracks. The beamage off the 30-30. See Vex getting a knockout to start a fight, but there's a lot of teams that are actually already in Lava Fisher, and this is nice to know because I believe start a fight getting away from Lava Fisher. They're just running with their tails stuck between their legs because Vex is holding the real estate on the other side of this train cart, where you can see right here inside of this building. So they were able to sandwich start a fight. Now they're going to be able to have extra loot to work with. You can hear the EMPs going off, but they're not going to be leaving this area anytime soon, because in the off chance that the circle continuously pulls towards Lava Fisher, they're going to have a nice advantage not only on the high ground, but with this circle clearing their backs.
Yeah, and this is one of my favorite areas of the map, is that building. If you're going to be bunkered down over by Lava Fisher, having that real estate, although Vex is saying, you know what, we're moving on to bigger things. You can see right now they've got their eyes on this teammate trying to go. Gonna hit the geyser and just reposition, say, I'm out. Unlucky, just looking to make some connections and start a fight. Gonna go down at the hands of the Slayer, Tyler FPS, but not at the cost. Matafe going under some punishment right there, because you know everyone is looming around. And who better than to be looming in the darkness? It's going to be Reply Totem.
My face is buried in my hands because for some reason, they gave up the real estate for what? 10, 15 seconds to chase after that one last member of Start a Fight. In that time, Reply Totem says, thanks for the free real estate. They're going to be able to move in. They're going to be able to pressure Vex. And now Vex need a reset, but the beamage coming in from Jazaz with the pizzazz. I mean, Reply Totem now backing up. They're going to be able to get the real estate again. With the Watson, this is exactly what works into their team comp. They're going to bunker down with the fences, but they have to look out for the other squads in the area, like E6, like the other squad that we tuned into earlier, who actually had the crypto drone flying around too, because that crypto drone is going to delete all the hard work that these Watson fences went out of their way to set up.
Well, I mean, but in the defense, they are just some happy little fences. I love it. But the question is, where did Vexed Gaming go? Because you know all of the teams have begun their rotations into this Lava Fissure checkpoint area. And so that requires the question of, where is Alliance coming out of Thermal Station? They've had to have begun their journey. So they will be coming into the mix, and anyone that lands Southside as well is going to be making their way. And Reply Totem is going to be lying in wait in their fortress, just kind of peering out with that 2x4 on the R301. You have the mid-range distance, and now you just wait. What is that next step? We still have 19 teams left in the lobby, so it's still so healthy. And as we pull further into this zone, what free real estate will be available? Because there's bar none.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult. There's so many squads that have already made their appearance over in Lava Fisher. Again, it's just control for these beacons, especially on World's Edge, that are play so useful as a part for a lot of these teams that are running these bunker down comps with the Watson, the Crypto as well. You can see Alliance holding onto the high ground, wondering if there's a beacon right to the south side of where Monde is, but you can see them getting pinged off by another squad that's taking control over the high ground closer to staging. There is a beacon in staging, so that squad, I believe it's Foot Esports who makes that rotation in that direction, is going to actually be able to have that information already ahead of the curve from Alliance, who have the beacon behind them, but are they going to be able to get into that position where they're not going to be contested?
Hey, speaking of contested, it looks like Fire Beavers is going to be taking out V2 off screen, so a lot of spiciness going around. Fire Beavers keeping it hot, and that sounds so funny. I just like that. It's so cute. I just picture little beavers on fire, which sounds horrible, but I like it. I like it.
You can see it as the Beavers having a hot streak, okay? Because right now they definitely need it. They want to be on fire. They want to continue on that domination, taking out another squad. That's 2 squads out of this lobby right now. 18 squads left. Alliance taking their time. We saw what they did before. We saw that they're willing to play the edge of the circle, take their time. Yeah, they don't have a beacon to their feet, or usually see it on the high ground on top of that geyser, but they're going to be able to overlook the chaos that is happening across the field from that geyser. What's happening in Lava Fisher from a high ground perspective. But Esports, like we were talking about before, this is the team that was taking some shots onto Alliance, but decided to back away, prioritize their positioning, with the Seer being the only one having a gold Evo shield. They're in a very vulnerable position. Foot Esports, you can tell, haven't been involved in a fight just yet. They're also playing this patiently, but this could bite them on behind for any other squads that are going to be able to sandwich them.
Yeah, this is not the Foot Esports that I was used to seeing that became so dominant, taking that God spot away in that end game and going on to win that match. I don't feel comfortable with 2 white shields and a gold shield going into that end game, but something that I saw that a NA team had done last week, that was going to be FaZe. I just want to hype on them. They had a gold shield on their team, but they shared it to conserve resources and to heal up. But now let's cut on over to Alliance right here on the top of this rock, getting fired upon and pressured from the right side. Yuki going to spot it out, call it. They do have that skyward dive available to them, but I just don't think that is going to be a wise move. They have a God spot on this team pushing into zone, and this is your moment to descend upon them and punish them for even trying to put some shots onto you.
I was wondering, the squad rotating from the southern side is going to be Corpa, but they do have the Valkyrie as well as a skyward dive, so I can expect them taking to the skies. They don't want to risk getting gate kept here by Alliance, who's been waiting there patiently on Pride Walk to actually contest any of the other squads that are rotating for that choke point. So with a longer rotation, Corpa says, all right, you can take that real estate. We're going to wrap around. They're going to get the information necessary for any of the other squads rotating here, and there's 2 squads in the area. Corpa saying, all right, we're going to take out to the high ground, but they're not in the circle just yet. They still need to inch a little bit forward, and they have to keep their eyes to the squad that's to their right as well.
And I think that was a really smart move for them. Sure, just stay on this bridge, keep that high ground, share your resources. You have 2 golds and a purple. You are kitted and ready to go for that mid to late game, and this is how you need to stay there. Just keep that trio alive and make sure that you have that ability. But Sierra Exhibit going out to garner all of the information for those nearby teams because they're descending upon the trailer in front of them. They have the health advantage, and it's going to be spicy.
We got a listen and available. Let's see how this fight goes down here between Corpa and Nightmare.
Drop down.
Drop down.
I drop. I'm fine.
Dropping on me.
No. One shot.
Box 100.
One HP, back.
Crypto.
He
Yeah,
almost
take Crypto. Not Crypto.
The ball.
Block almost cracked.
You got this.
Oh, he's the last guy? I thought it's 2 more.
Yes, last.
One shot.
Thirst him.
On top team. Maybe go to the ring if you can now.
Do it, yes.
Let him get the thirst. He got the thirst.
Go to the storm.
Yep. You should be fine, I think. Very smart. Step backing, yep.
Dude, we had bad comms and I thought it's still 2 alive. I would have played so much more aggressive.
I didn't hear any comms after I died. You can easily get banner, I think, and best staging.
The red is here, yes.
I don't know, bro. Wait, 1 second.
What is top right, say.
What an intense end right there, too. You could hear from the comms, they were not happy to hear what went down, the pressure that the team was in before they lost out on one of their teammates. Fire Beavers now making appearance to this fight, and it is going to get chaotic real quick here, Tiff, because this is not just the third party, but I did see right behind Fire Beavers that there is a 4th party that could be coming up from behind them, wondering where Alliance is going to end up rotating since now they're forced to play off the low ground before they make their way into Lava Fissure.
Hey, we were talking, Fallout was asking, what are we going to see when we go to World's Edge? Well, I guess it's no longer third parties. We got the 4th, the 5th, the 6th. The whole lobby is fighting at this point, and Fire Beavers looking to come out on top, wreaking havoc on Nightmare Esports, taking down Denze. And this is going to make, you know, OJ the kill leader. This is what they needed. We were talking Dark Horses. Sure, Impulse is going to fall, but they should be able to just kind of take down the rest of the teams, firing, doing all the damage they can to kind of see, hey, can we keep the pressure so Impulse doesn't get fooled? Because the moment your player gets fooled, it's going to be a lot harder to get that beacon back up and get him into the game. But the res going out right now, a little bit of calm before the storm, and if they can stick this, it's going to be a nice reset for them.
This is beautiful. Yeah, not only the reset real quick, the Evo shield swap, so that way you can get right back into that next circle, because while you're focused on trying to pop the med kit, you got to get moving. That circle is closing in behind you, and that's a lot of damage that's going to be fleshed out if Fire Beavers isn't ahead of the curve. I'm worried about what's waiting for them on the other side of that circle. I'm wondering if Alliance was able to already go for a quick rotate. Yes, they're underneath the bridge. This is what I was wondering, because they were going off the low ground originally, and this is a great spot for them to also circle keep the chaos of the fights that went down on that train tracks.
Oh, this is going to be spicy. Horizon going to get cracked and all the damage going out. I love the positioning here. Mandy using that grab lift to try and get LOS. It has a thermite ready and willing to go and just kind of wreak havoc. You are holding that edge, but this is going to be a punishment, right? It's a high risk, high reward because there are teams in zone that are going to keep a line of sight on you at all times. So make sure that you're securing your backside so you don't have that pressure from other teams. Meanwhile, Corpa going to fall as well. But the question is, how is Alliance going to get out of this situation? And can they take down Vex, who has the clear high ground advantage on them?
Yeah, they have the positional advantage. They got the wingman shots landing, but they're also out in the open for other squads to take some shots at them. So squads that are actually controlling the edge of that circle. And Corpa could not get out of the ring, unfortunately. They go down to the hands of Scars as Vex Gaming are backing up for right now. They have the information with the Seer being on their team. They're going to use that heartbeat sensor to call out where they're going to end up rotating, because with the squad taking shots at them from across the field, they don't want to lose out on the opportunity of maintaining this real estate and putting themselves in a vulnerable position.
Yeah, and this is always the most hard part of a map for Vex Gaming, right? They start off so strong. Their 3v3s, their micros are so fantastic, but the cohesiveness is going to have to make sure that they can take that trio and get them into that next zone. You can see just on your left hand of the screen kind of where it is pulling, and Alliance and Vex find themselves just on the outskirts, and Fire Beavers descending upon them as well, looking to get into that action. And now the question is Alliance going to be able to get out from underneath of that bridge? Because that is not where you want to get stuck.
This is going to be so hard. I feel like Vex could cut off their rotation, and they're going to be sandwiched between Fire Beavers and Vex. Tough situation for Alliance to play off of, but Hockeys, he needs to land these wingman shots. He's got the Digithreat, he's got the Skull Piercer. He can put in a lot of impact as he tosses up the Art Star, tries to get out of the range of the exhibition. He's close to getting his own ult, but with the circle closing in less than 10 seconds, they need to start moving soon, whether it be from the low ground or if they're going to force their way into the high ground versus Vex Gaming, who also need to do the same rotation.
Yeah, but I like this positioning from them. It's that building, right, that we saw Reply Totem in after they kind of took it when Vex Gaming had left. But they're going to hit to the skies. Take that skyward dive. This is such a gamble. Alliance as well doing the same thing. The issue is there's literally no real estate, so you're going to have to find a clear spot. But you never want to be the first team to hit that skyward dive because everyone's eyes are going to be on you. Alliance looking for a safe space, but will they have found it? I kind of like taking the bridge. Sure, longbow shots are coming in, but you've made it out relatively unscathed as Reply Totem is going to fall at the hands of Vexed.
And they were dancing through these bullets like they were already part of the Matrix out here. Alliance getting able to secure the underside of Thermal Lava Fisher is so important. Game Ward now looking to capitalize right here too. We saw so many skyward dives, double black hole. Game Ward, all right, gonna be able to delete all of the chaos, all the space that they were denied, but they're stuck in between two squads here. You can see the shots coming in from the high ground, a nice little cheeky angle while trying to get out of the line of sight of the crypto drone.
Oh, this is going to be tough. They need to get the reset on to aimbot before people realize that they are a team of two, but I think they have just said, hey, you're a lost cause. They make their way into the lava, and they are just being fired upon from above in the form of IG. Graceful trying to get the reset there onto JMW, but not going to be able to stick it just yet. You do have that Nox Gas ult available to you, and you can see Noises right now. A great IGL just kind of scouting out that line of sight with the crypto. This gives you a full lay of the land because there are so many teams available, 9 squads remaining in such a small space. Being able to really control the area and anchor it down, utilizing those Nox gas traps is going to be a key to success. But the fact that Alliance was able to find open real estate and just evict whoever was out here, which was, I think, Game Ward, well done.
Yeah, they have a chance to breathe for right now before Game of Drones, where you saw on the feed with the Kraber shot from Rondon, was able to pressure out IG too. So both sides of the circle getting contested, as Horizon also going to be able to take some shots. Lackluster ammunition though with the flatline right now, only working with 25 bullets. You see the ult from the Watson coming in clutch, negating the damage from that Art Star. Horizon literally playing for their lives, but we know who exactly is on the other side of that grenade. Gonna be able to pressure right through the walls. It's the Mad Maggie, it's Aurora who want to make their appearance.
And to make their appearance, they do, and I love the aggressive nature. They also have their Caustic ult available to them, which means you know that no one inside this building is going to be safe if you take that ult to the face. But look, so many more people trying to get in on the action. Horizon jumps in, 0-0, trying to stay alive. Mimu is going to fall. Urban and Zero trying to keep the dream alive. They take down Light. They're just decimating. Get that reload, descend upon them, team shoot them, and LFO Forever is going to be eliminated. The question is, can you get a good shield swap and get your health bar reset before the squads descend upon you? Because you are basically put a bullet on your bat. But Vex Gaming has made it to the end game, Vicky.
Oh, and E6 and Alliance, I think, took out each other with some assistance from Game of Drones. That was insane chaos. Look at the graveyard at their feet. What happened to E6 and Alliance? They got blown up. Game of Drones are going to walk away happily with this. They need the KP. 5 squads left in this lobby, and Game of Drones have not left the security of the buildings within Lava Fisher. I believe Vex is still out here. We have Rondon popping up with the rest of Game of Drones. IG, who's still alive, who were able to get a reset, as well as Aurora and Horizon.
Now, we did see a knock come in on the hands of Vex, but what the fact is, if Game of Drones is going to be cohabitating this area with them, they're not pushing. They're not pressed for that situation. But come on over to Aurora. They're fighting for that real estate against Horizon. All the damage going out, able to grab and knock, and that's going to be all they wrote for Horizon. Going for a quick reset is going to be Aurora. Now 4 squads remaining here in map number 4. The question is, will IG, will Vex, Game of Drones, or Aurora come out on top?
You gotta see, I mean, you do got the Caustic in the hands of Aurora, and you see that ultimate accelerator being popped. You know that that Nox grenade is gonna be available and ready for that final circle. You gotta get ready for any of these other squads. IG rocking the Loba still. They've been rocking that black market on the other side of that southern circle for quite some time. See the Mad Maggie putting in some extra pressure. IG International looking to take their time, but they're taking a lot of damage while they're forcing their way into that circle.
Ooh, this is gonna be spicy. Sure, yeah, this is not what you'll want. But Aurora, this is what you want if you're Aurora, because you've been able to throw down those Nax gas traps. You can shoot them. You can essentially barrel crawl and hold off anyone that is trying to make a play for that. And sure, maybe you got a Craver, maybe you want to put some line of sights on, but now Aurora has to make their way across this bridge into the fight, where essentially all of these teams are collapsing upon each other. So barrel crawl your way, Aurora. You can do that. You can see noises on the screen right there, taking a lot of damage, going to fall graceful as well within a centimeter of their life. Now JMW last alive, and you are just basically getting punished by every team in the lobby before you fall. Now 3 squads remaining. Aurora sitting incredibly pretty. This is the moment where you just bide your time and you shoot at every single other person. This is chaos.
Oh, Aurora have the game-winning position, though, right now. They are looking fantastic, but do they know that there is another squad directly underneath them that is Game of Drones? Everyone needs to get funneled eventually, but Aurora need to hold on to this high ground. Where are they going to rotate? Are they going to get on top of the rocks? Do they want to secure this KP? They see Vex getting a lot of these KP for them, and they get wiped out first. They didn't win the trade originally. Now they're forced to drop down, and Aurora are the winners after having the positional advantage and capitalizing off of having way more health in that last fight.
Vicky, my mouth is open. My jaw is dropped. Aurora played that so patiently. Barrel crawling across that bridge was the way to go. They played their time safely. Everyone was collapsing upon each other. You had IG, Game of Drones, Vex, and in the kill feed, Vex was able to pull off a lot of eliminations, and they coupled that with placement points for the first time today. Well done.
It was beautiful, and you saw the Game of Drones had popped off themselves too. They secured a building from the very beginning, and Lava Fisher took their time and were also able to clear up the likes of Alliance, E6, whatever third party that they could capitalize off of, they did just that. So an amazing win for Aurora, though, capitalizing off of the Mad Maggie and the Caustic. I mean, what better hero to have than Caustic in the late game like that?
That was exactly what they needed to do. And that was your pick, your team to watch there at the very beginning of the broadcast. You highlighted, you're like, when we see World's Edge, we're going to see that Mad Maggie. And anytime we're nestled in a building with a Watson team and you see the Mad Maggie tactical through the wall, you're like, who is it? It's Aurora. Knock, knock, we're coming in hot.
Yeah, you know, something nice to note that Fall had pointed out himself. The combination and the different compositions that we saw within that top 3 alone, Crypto, Loba, Caustic, Mad Maggie, Wraith, Horizon, Seer. It's not just the Horizon, Seer, and Valkyrie comps that we are seeing in our teams here in EMEA. We've seen it in APAC, we've seen it in EMEA, we've seen it in NA. The difference in compositions, a plethora of compositions that we're able to witness at high level Apex is always so enjoyable to watch. I mean, if you were to tell me that we were going to see Wraith in our lobbies starting off year 3, I would not believe it, Tiv.
I wouldn't believe it either. It's been such a long time coming, and as someone who played a lot of time on Wraith, it's actually super fun to see. So it's bringing me back to like the old roots, you know, back in the day, back in the composition, right when ALGS was kind of first starting. It just feels good.
Yeah, it's really nice to see all these different compositions coming out. Let's take a look at the highlights, because we saw a lot of chaos go down in the choke points that would exit from the northern side of that circle into the southern side here too. Leaving thermal station, leaving staging. A lot of these teams were caught off in the middle of the rotation, but we saw some early action go down in Lava Fissure.
Dude, Lava Fissure was the area. That was the hot spot of the map. A lot of people vying for that real estate, moving out, Reply Totem coming in, Vex taking their building back, Aurora at one point holding the building at Lava Fissure. It was just a hot map. Lots of action throughout the entire game, and Fire Beavers was at the hand of a lot of teams' demise. They just held high ground, played incredibly well, but this was that chokehold, right? Just on the south side of Lava Fissure, where we had Alliance underneath the bridge, Vex Gaming descending upon them, and then IG International holding a really nice position before going down. And it's just been like a game. It's been a war. I was gonna say a game of drones, but I kind of wanted to say Game of Thrones at that point. It was a battle of attrition where you thought you had the upper hand. You really didn't. Someone already knew how to take you down.
Yeah, no house was safe out here too. And with Aurora taking that dub, it was a huge deal for them, because before this game, overall in the leaderboards, they were sitting at 17th. Ooh. They were having a bit of a difficult time. Yeah, they secured some KP. I think they secured 6 KP before this game. Overall, in the last 3 games before this one. So yeah, they were getting some KP here or there, but they didn't get the dub or the placement that they needed. And now they made up for it. Look at this, 8 KP to their name, in addition to the 12 points that they're going to be able to walk away with to secure themselves 20 extra points. But of course, we gotta highlight the double-digit KP on this overall leaderboard with Vex Gaming. Like you mentioned, Tiff, were able to secure a lot of kills before they eventually went down in 3rd place.
And I think that's just gonna be their key to success. If they can couple those high elimination games with those placement points, that's how you crawl up the leaderboard for Vex. But they have to make sure that they get towards that end game to have that. Let's go ahead and look at teams that were placed 11th through 20th. You got Reply Totem. They look to have a great start where they were looking in that real estate, that building south of Lava Fissure, but unfortunately, as soon as Vex Gaming left, they moved in and they became the eye.
Ooh, it's so tough too, because Reply Totem being on that 2nd page, we know that they were in the top 5. They wanted to be able to make sure that they could stay in that 1st page. We're going to see now with the overall results, 45 points in total go in favor of Alliance, and Scars still remain on top. You could see this with Nightmare still in the 3rd place spot right after them, and with a lot of these teams now starting to pick up the pace, we are going to be moving into game number 5 soon on the other side of this break, and that's going to be my favorite game here too, Tiff. Before we jump into this break, I have to highlight that game number 5 is always my favorite, because that's at the point in time where a lot of these teams figure out how they have to play safe. Are they going to get super aggressive? Well, we're going to be able to wait and see before we get into that game, guys. Don't go anywhere, because we got some more LGS action for you.
Apex Legends Global Series, Monster Energy, your official energy drink for the ALGS.
Welcome back, everybody. What action we've seen already go down for our first game on World's Edge, but that's one game down, 2 more to go, and we got game number 5 underway, Tiff. It's been a great time to see these teams really pop off, but like I mentioned before we jumped into the break, with our quick little break, of course, to add on to that, but game number 5 is always my favorite game to go down into because this is a point in time where a lot of these teams have figured out where they're situated in the overall leaderboards so that way they could see how aggressive or how patient they're forced to play. Like the likes of Scars, this could shake things up. They want to remain in the top part of the overall leaderboards without giving away too many points, but they also want to secure extra KP if they could to their name to make sure that they're ahead of the curve, ahead of Alliance.
And I think that that's exactly what they need to do. They didn't really have a great first showing, which was kind of uncharacteristic of Scars. So doing what they need to do to make sure that they are securing the W here, that's what we expected. And you said it best, game 5, where the aggression will come out from a lot of these teams. And I'm all ready for the aggressive nature. That is my favorite part of it. That's my favorite part about Apex, is just how aggressive it can get, especially in those end game circles. And if EMEA is going to go in with a lot of teams left in that end game, kind of like we've been seeing, I mean, it's gonna get spicy.
Yeah, I'm wondering what our next circle is gonna be, because when it comes to those lava fisher circles too, you're going to expect a lot of teams that land in the eastern parts of the POI and World's Edge to make up for a lot of not only the land that they have to traverse, but have to deal with the choke points that they're going to be stuck in. Looking at rotations leading through Fragment into Landslide, leaving from Skyhook around the rocks towards Countdown. A lot of those choke points are going to be easily contested by squads that already land there as their POI. So where is the circle going to pull for us here? I'm wondering before we jump into this game.
I mean, where is the circle going to pull? That's what we always want to know. Are we going to get a south side zone? I feel like World's Edge really tends to lean towards those. We don't really get too often hardcore north side zones, but you know, some of the zones that are my favorite are those Skyhook endings. That's where things get super gnarly, and that's my favorite. So maybe I'm just going to try really hard, Apex Gods. I am manifesting a Skyhook ending because that would just be everything that I need.
Tiff the Prophet? Sears got some competition, it looks like. Oh no, let's not waste any more time. Let's jump right into game number 5, guys. Thank you once again for you all tuning in right now. The ALGS day number 3 already having such high octane action in the EMEA region is always nice to see, but it's also really nice to see the plethora of different compositions that we see from a lot of the characters that are being used up by our teams.
Ah, that is true. I love it. We talked about the Mad Maggie. We talked about the Wraith. We talked about Loba. So much fun stuff. It's just kind of like those characters that we typically didn't see. When we were stuck kind of in that Gibby, Caustic, Valk meta for a while, this just adds a little bit of spice to it, right? It just shakes it up a little bit. But these teams, we're not getting the Skyhook ending that I wanted. But for those that love Fragment, which looks to be Fire Beavers, they may find themselves having a strong upper hand in map number 5.
Yeah, this is gonna be good news for them. I mean, they're gonna have all of Fragment to loot as well as a beacon to work off of as well. You saw BZN on the outskirts as well as in No Name to be able to contest them early, like Echo Esports has, by the way. Since the very beginning on Storm Point, they've been taking these early 50-50s, and they did land here before on Climatizer, so it looks like it's Na'Vi who are sharing that real estate with them. They're looking to already rotate on the other side of Climatizer before they decide to see if they can take this opportunity to fight, because if this fight goes a lot longer than Echo Esports wants it to go, I'm worried about the likes of Zane and VJ, who are actually over by Overlook, that they could contest them in the middle of their rotations towards Epicenter.
Ooh, you're right, and that's going to be spicy. Na'Vi has really been always there. They are just such an integral portion of these fights that have really been the thorn on a lot of these teams' sides. Sure, they've only had a 4th place as their best finish, haven't really found themselves as a match winner, but I feel as if their mid-game fights, they're the ones taking down some of these heavy hitters. You can see in that map view right there, we are going straight Fragment Epicenter. If it pulls just north of Fragment and ends there, it is going to be in for a treat. Everyone in chat, everyone watching from home, no matter where you are, we are in for an absolute show here.
Yeah, let us know, guys, your thoughts on which teams you want to take game number 5 and game number 6, especially the teams that need it. Make sure to tweet out hashtag ALGS, and you guys can at me at Vicky Kitty or Tip at Spider Tip. It's gonna be nice as Echo Esports are looking to back off from this fight. They got limited ammunition, but they got some great loot to work off of. Not only a purple Evo shield, but they got the purple energy mag, the blue stock here from Bardo. So they're looking to just rotate all the way around, see if they can get anything else that they need for their weapon loadout. And once they do start making their next move to rotate into that next circle after utilizing the replicator, they're gonna have to look out for the likes of VZD, who are gonna be approaching from Overlook. I'm wondering if there is that beacon and climatizer, they could get that information, or if they don't have that beacon, they're gonna have to rotate towards Epicenter to fight for that beacon control instead.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I do remember a beacon being inside of Epicenter, probably at the top of it, which is gonna make for an interesting moment because Epicenter, you have to go down the hills to get into that POI, which is gonna leave yourself vulnerable to any teams that are looking to chow you for that beacon available. And you can see right now, Start a Fight being punished on the outskirts of Harvester, looking to disengage, but they're not able to necessarily get out without full health. And look who's at the helm of that. That's gonna be Aurora, making the way, taking down Doctors, and just keeping on that aggressive nature and sharing a little bit of ultimate accelerants. I expect nothing less of a team that's going to put a Mad Maggie and Wraith here.
Right? Yeah, especially with the Wraith too. I have to highlight that I absolutely love the fact that Aurora has been able to find this team comp and allow it to work. We've had the likes of so many other teams bring out unorthodox compositions. As you can see, Vex in a fight themselves too. They have the high ground though, and it's going to be GW who are actually playing off the low ground. Vex Gaming may have the advantage right here, but they do lose out on Tyler.
Ooh, and Tyler, the current EMEA kill leader, had 21 eliminations on his first showing, but unlucky. The controller Menace pushing in and eliminating Game Ward. Now the issue is they didn't fool Tyler, so that is great for Vex Gaming. They're able to hit that reset, get the shield swap in, pop a med kit, and that is the cleanest, quickest reset. You're going to take to the sky, look to make sure that no one is trying to third party you, and you are in the clear. So just get your guns reloaded, make sure everything's chill, restock up, make sure your Phoenix kits are popping, because you always got to have one of those. And Vex Gaming looking strong here in the early game.
Yeah, looking to quickly reset here, sending Game Ward as the first squad in this game number 5 back to the lobby. Now they have to wait out to play out one more game within our day here of EMEA. A lot of these other teams are trying to get ahead of the curve though when it comes to rotating through Fragment, because the real estate, like you were mentioning before, if we had seen a Skyhook circle, would be a lot more patient, a lot slower. But here, when it comes to Fragment, it's kind of a very similar page, but with less buildings here, where you're going to expect a lot of these teams to make sure that they have some real estate depending on the team comps that we're going to be exposed to, such as Reply Totem rocking the Watson. They want to make sure that they can secure a building before any of these other teams do. You can see the black market also being used up in that broken up building, so they're going to be landing just on the other side of Fragment West.
Oh, I like this relatively free real estate, just getting poked and prodded from the nearby vicinity, but able to get in there and get a good, clean refresh on your shields. Now, the question is, where is that ring going to start pulling from this area? You're getting a good line of information from the teams on the outskirts. Aurora set up in Fragment as well. Able to hold down these buildings. We mentioned it, Caustic, able to use those gas traps to just secure your areas. I'm not going to push a building with a Caustic on the inskirts, and that is also saying that Mad Maggie's not pulling out her tactical to really burn me through a wall.
Yeah, that, and you know, usually that's why you see some of these teams rocking the crypto, but it's to negate the Watson fences. But in Aurora's case, it's to negate those Caustic barrels. We haven't been seeing much Caustic in any of our lobbies for other regions, just because the Watson does provide more after that nerf to Caustic's barrels did come out to shoot them down, do enough damage to make sure that they're not an issue. But Aurora's still rocking this composition. They've obviously seen a lot of success because what their priorities are with the Wraith and the Portal is getting it to a position that they could have not only high ground advantage, but in a good spot for that next circle. Doesn't look like they have the information to that next circle, but they're just waiting for this squad in front of them to give up that real estate so that way they can get the beacon scan and plan their next move, since they don't have the luxury of the Skyward Dive to rotate quickly with the Valkyrie.
Yeah, I was gonna say, we did get audio cue of someone taking to the sky, making their rotation in nearby, and Na'Vi still trying to find their route in. They're looking at the beacon here in Epicenter. Like we said, we knew that teams were going to be waiting, but they're just taking their time biting. You get free shots. Maybe this is the moment where you go 1, 2, 3, let's all team shoot the person going for the beacon, and this could be an easy fight for them. A great picture-in-picture there for the map overview. You can see the majority of teams have found themselves in the zone, but take a look all the way down to the south left corner, you've got Alliance, and they are taking a fight so far on the outskirts. It's kind of wild.
Yeah, there is 2 squads fighting right now in staging, and with Alliance now looking to back away, that's pretty far out because that squad is, whichever team comes out on top from this fight, is going to have to forcefully rotate from the landslide side, where you could expect 3 teams to be waiting for you on the outskirts of there, as Alliance are going to try to take some shots. The bow check, the follow-up on the longbow. Are you kidding me? That was beautiful from Alliance. The 2 shots on the bow check into the longbow follow-up. That was nice. Now Alliance are going to be able to fully send it. He's still landing these shots. I mean, if that's Katniss Everdeen, she truly don't miss.
Okay, Mandy, okay. Looking absolutely menacing with that. Meanwhile, Corpa, that's going to be all they wrote for them. But Food Esports going under siege right now, and just the Nox gas just proving to be a thorn in their sky. Scars right now trying to keep alive, but within centimeters of their health, trying to get bats off and make sure that they can finish this moment off. All able to reset. Taylor down, North down. Food Esports eliminated from the lobby here. Scars coming out on top. Beautifully done. But now you have to call into question, will other teams be kind of pushing into this moment for the third party? But so far, so good.
I think there was a team that tried to. I saw a grenade get eaten up by the Watson ult that's right behind Scars. We highlighted the Caustics, and Taishin is rocking the Caustics. So it's not just Aurora out here in these lobbies that are going to be able to rock the Stinky Man, but E6 themselves have now made their appearance inside of a building that they're sharing with another team. They're playing off the low ground right now here too. I believe this may be Horizon that wanted to make the rotate here. But like we mentioned before, not too sure. It doesn't look like there's a beacon here, so it's not like both these teams are going to be able to exit out of this building with information for them to work with.
Yeah, but I like the positioning here. Element 6 just kind of looming underneath. Now going to hit the grab lift and go up top. But it's kind of fun. This is grandma's house, right? We just want to hold this real estate just on the outskirts of that next zone, which will give you the information. Call in that lifeline package, re-up, maybe find yourself, I don't know, a gold helm for someone else. But I love that they put it on life, and so you can get as many black holes as fast as possible to be able to destroy your team. But I want to go ahead and mention it. Element 6, they're not really doing the best right now. Currently sitting in 10th coming into map number 5. We saw them so dominating on their match day 1 showing, and I'd like to see them kind of step it up here in maps number 5 and 6.
Yeah, you know, and it's interesting to highlight that the teams that didn't do so well on those same days are now popping off. They're prioritizing a different playstyle when it comes to positioning, and I'm talking about Alliance, I'm talking about Scars. Nightmare as well is still finding so much KP despite not even taking a dub so far. E6 playing off the low ground, dropping their Evo shields, and okay, you know, we see you, Crypto Drones, and we're also going to go in for a quick little helmet swap, so that way Case Swinney is going to be able to take to the skies. He doesn't need that gravity lift 4 right now after he is able to get onto the high ground. It's just going to be able to give it to Case Swinney to just build up that EMP even quicker.
I always find it so interesting when people start dropping their shields, because you know there's always those 1 or 2 Lobas that loom on World's Edge.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
just running that risk of getting it swiped through the black market. But hey, let's cut on over back to Alliance and see how Legolas himself is doing with the bow check. I love that Hockeys has that fully kitted out longbow, just shy of the skull piercer. But Monty, man, just hitting the bow check. 44 arrows remaining. Anyone that is in his line of sights, and you can see the ping going out right now, they've got their eyes set on their next victims. They are currently at the top of the leaderboard coming into match number 5, and they want to keep it this way.
Yeah, I'm not over the 2 bow check shots into the single longbow shot from Hockeys. I mean, I would be furious if I was on the other side of that skyward dive, and I would be cheering and celebrating if I were Alliance, because that was such a great little ego check too. Look at him landing his shots with a 106 from across the field, from construction building to the streamer building, landing that headshot. What a statement to be made, letting them know, you know, you can try to get the beacon, but you gotta get through me first.
Speaking of getting through me first, it's Game of Drones trying to make the last stand and hold Vex out of this choke point. Exhibit going down, but Jules going to fall. And Vex taking a lot of damage, but really doing a lot to the team in front of them. Both kind of re-upping on their shields and reassessing. Game of Drones going to fall so quick. And now Vex already reset and ready for whatever fight is going to come their way, because you know, trying to rotate through this chokehold is going to be spicy, but they're going to rotate around this ridge and try to go in on the south side of Fragment.
Yeah, they got
That's his
options. I like this a lot too, because not only are they trying to take this different approach through this side choke point, they got options that they really wanted to wrap around. They could go from the side that they were originally contesting in, go through this choke point. They could go around through the big rocks, but they don't want to take any circle damage. They don't see that's necessary. They got all the evil shields to work with, as well as the high ground advantage, and they're fully setting it onto this team that's hiding down below with the Watson fences set up, but they're not going to fully just take it onto them because there could be another squad on the other side of those train tracks, and they don't want to bring all that attention. You can see the squad now lifting up through the gravity lift, and the nice one clip on the car. Are you kidding me? That's gonna be Reply Totem actually waiting for them on the other side.
Yeah, Jazaz getting one clipped now. Vex Gaming ensuing and just bringing the pressure. They're gonna find another down. So now you've just gotta clean it up. There's only one member remaining from Reply Totem. And if you're going to push them straight into Fragment, there's nowhere to go. Reply Totem's not going to be able to get out of dodge. That's going to be potentially the end of them. Now the question is, where did Amaz go? Just under fire. And now you're looming at the helm of a team full of this building. You can hear the audio. There's already teams all around you. You're essentially a glorified... You've got to become the master splinter and start to rat at this point.
Amaz said, hold on, mind your business. I'm not the actual person that's in any trouble, okay? I'm going to be able to try to rotate around. You guys focus on the fights happening inside these buildings, especially with the chaos of these caustic traps that we're seeing set up by Aurora. They're sharing the real estate over the squad that has a high ground, and it's caustic beat caustic. And do you know what beats these caustics aside from Crypto's EMP and taking down these traps? It's caustic himself. And that's the matchup that we're seeing right now inside of this building. It's going to be IG International on the high ground around Aurora.
Gasman v Gasman, and it's gonna get spicy, but Mad Maggie, you know, coming in, you said it best, Aurora, and then Mad Maggie announces herself and finds a great position to do so. But the question is, how are they going to build this approach up these buildings? Graceful, biding the time, just kind of crouch walking down, looking for a line of sight, not able, but does kind of have an inkling that a team. The question is, will someone peek Graceful? But I love the patience that they're exuding, because you kind of have to do that when pushing. Meanwhile, V2 going to be eliminated. 14 squads remaining here on map number 5.
And I think we're going to cut that in half for this next circle, only because of where the circle is going to be pulling. Expect some skyward dives to come in, because traversing through Fragment West from low to high ground uphill in an open field where the circle is going to be pulling more so on the outskirts of Epicenter, on the outskirts of Survey Camp, a lot of these teams in Fragment are going to get funneled into the line of sight of whichever squad is going to hold on to the high ground cliff side that's going to overlook this side of Fragment.
Yeah, and there's definitely going to be a team exuding that, but Alliance having several areas of long range available to them, just looking to kind of wreak the havoc. Vex right now in this trailer, kind of fighting. Unlucky within an inch of his life. Tyler down. Matafe, the IGL, going to have to clean up E6 for them, but they got an arc star. Can you hide behind the shields? Yes, able to dodge that, but now here comes the third party, and it's going to get a little crazy here. But the question is, can you get out alive? They're trying to stick that res onto Tyler FPS. Meanwhile, shield swaps will be available if you can go ahead and thirst them. That's going to be all they wrote for Element 6, which is smooth. Now 12 squads remaining. The chaos is starting to ensue. Incoming arc stars. You cannot stay inside and hold this because you do not have a Watson gen available. But what you do have is an insane gunny in the hands of Matafe as the damage is going out. IG International also going to go down as well, and Vex Gaming just racking up all these elims. That's unlucky. The kill leader with 5 eliminations and 5 assists. That means this team is already in double digits.
Oh, this is insane. Matafe was going crazy. He looked like a chameleon looking in 2 different directions at the same time for all the squads that are trying to push into that train car alone. Vex Gaming now on their last legs, backing away as Matafe manages to get res. We saw the 2 gold knockdown shields in the hands of Vex Gaming, so Matafe gets res with some health, and they need to get in to help out Unlucky, because here comes another squad over to the side.
Oh, and there's a charge rifle in the horizon. That's going to wreak a lot of damage on this team. Tyler FPS going to fall as well. Now IGL Matafe, last alive for the team, going to have to hold off the push from Scars and some other teams in the distance with that charge rifle. But this is the moment in time where I think you just play your life, and as you play your life, you go in. You find another team, and you just start firing. And now you can see I just saw a Wraith go into the void just on the south side, and that's going to be Aurora looking to make their way in. Scars eliminated. Start a fight eliminated. Aurora doesn't want to be eliminated, but they're going to take out Vex Gaming. Gaming, Maliwan doing everything that they need to do. But look at all these Watson fences, Vicky.
Yeah, you painted it like Picasso out here, and Maliwan now needs to back up after getting that shield swap. It's Fire Beavers that have made their appearance in this fight as Maliwan gets out of their line of sight. I gotta highlight, Matafi went crazy though in that final fight. I don't know how he managed to survive at the very end right there, but he finally got cleaned up. Fire Beavers, one of the 7, now 6 squads left alive as VZN take their exits right back to the lobby. Alliance still out here in the lobby as Aurora now get eliminated. They get cleaned up, and the rest of Fire Beavers are looking to control this side, but they gotta get moving in less than a minute into that next circle.
Yeah, and the question is, we haven't seen any action from any teams that might be on the north side of this ring making their way in. So that is the real question. But we've got a Kraber in the hands of Impulse. And this is going to be a fairly open end game where just the little icicles that are going to be able to provide some cover. But that's not going to be enough because Impulse has 5 shots. And I can guarantee you he's going to hit 99.9% more than I would.
That's so true, though. That's so true, especially when you have no faith absolutely here. Let's see what 9 Impulse does. The patience with the Kraber in his hand, waiting for just that noggin to poke out to give him an opportunity to allow Fire Beavers to fully send it on this team because round 5 is closing up and you got less than 5 seconds to close in the gap here between yourselves and the rest of this lobby.
Hey, talk about the fights on the north side. It's going to be Navi with a hand in it. We've got Sanya down, Rugby and Xron trying to keep it alive and reset. And I love playing the knockdown shield of your enemy teammates, able to grab that bat off. Now you're going to be climbing up towards that high ground. This is going to be Echo Esports on the other side. And now just trying to fire off, hip firing the 30-30. That's all they wrote. Echo out of the lobby. We got 3 squads remaining going for the reset. So what is it now? We still have Fire Beavers. We've got Alliance and we've got Navi. And you know who wants to come out on top. It's going to be Fire Beavers.
Let's see. They have the nice high ground advantage here, but 9 Impulse goes down, and here comes a black hole. They delete it immediately, but it's only up to Taskmaster to be up to the task. He's in the line of sight of the other squad to the left side. Now wondering who's going to be able to approach that side. It's going to be Alliance who've been able to clean up so much KP this game here too. 6 KP to their name, and they've lost out on hotkeys. Do they have the opportunity to get this res?
Now the question is, can they keep out Navi from pushing while they get that reset? Because it's beautiful. They had that gold knockdown. You can see right there coming back, half health, half shield. Now Navi pushing in. Rugby, no shields on him. Now can Alliance make this moment happening? They're going to be so strong. Hockey's Monty going under fire. Thermite's going out, just trying to hold the space, but Monty is going to fall in the grab lift. Yuki coming down, just barreling, punishing them from taking out. But then the PK hit. Will it hit for 9? Will it hit for 99? That is the real question. Just trying to keep the line of sight happening.
I've never seen so much respect from the PK, and that's exactly how Navi need to play that. That respect from the PK is fantastic with the reposition, but are they giving him too much respect? 54 from Yuki. He's playing off the side of the rock. He needs to reload the R3. What an Alliance! Still come out on top despite losing out on a member earlier on in that fight. Alliance maintaining their spot. #1 in the overall leaderboards going on after that game 5.
Wow, that was absolutely insane. Your winners of map number 2, doubling down and coming back to win here in map number 5. We said it in the pre-show. We were like, they need to do something. They need to come back, garner as many points as they can to keep themselves into that contention. They're at the bottom of the leaderboards in the season standings, and now they are doing everything that needs to be done. And honestly, Mandy on Horizon, it was the call. It is beautiful.
It's so beautiful. It's amazing. And I need to bring Paula in after the end of that final game because Alliance went crazy. Yuki was able to reset. How was that even possible? Paula, please tell me your thoughts at the end of that game number 5.
Absolutely. Yuki! That's all I gotta say. He just snapped. It was insane what he pulled off with 10 HP and a dream, using that PK to hold off his teammates, giving Hockey's time to heal up, to give them a 2v3 fight that they end up clutching after getting that first knock. Absolutely insane final circle. We'll break down that and more as we welcome both Vicky, Kitty, and Tiff back. I thought we were going to give one of y'all a break. One of y'all deserve a break. You've been absolutely crushing it. But what a insane game number 5 that was, Vicky.
Yeah, that was beautiful. I want to see how Alliance was able to reset at the very end there because we were seeing the different POIs between themselves and Navi at the very end. Fire Beavers, who had a great advantage on the high ground, unable to clutch it out against a team like Alliance that were doing a really good job not only rotating between the individual members to go for a reset, but then the repositioning so that way they could get off angles and then force Fire Beavers to be in their line of sight without allowing Navi to have the opportunity to third party was also very impressive from Alliance.
Yeah, agreed. Tiff, I want to give you that break we promised you. Any final thoughts before we let you go?
I mean, Alliance, Alliance, doing everything they need to do. This is their day, and they are showing out, and it's just really impressive. I spend a lot of my mornings watching Mandy because I, full-time commentator. I like to watch a lot of the EU boys and see what they're up to, and it's just pure comedy. So to see them finding success today, it just feels good.
Yeah, it makes you wonder, what does the future hold for this Alliance squad? Many thought this was going to be the last week for Mandy substituting for Vice and Alliance, but after their performance right now, something tells me they're having a lot of fun. Something tells me that might change. It's a big discussion. Well, it's a big day for Alliance. They win 2 and stay top 3 consistently. Let's bring Vicky back to discuss that by showcasing the highlights from game number 5 here in just a moment. But again, a lot of love and kudos to Alliance. Also the Fire Beavers, Na'Vi, CIS, and Aurora also representing CIS, stepping up in a big way with a lot of edge fighting and edge kills, Vicky.
Yeah, I also saw that really nice clip with the bow check. I'm still not over it. That was insane right there. And Alliance continuing on that momentum until the very end of the game. As we take a look at some of the highlights from that previous game, Aurora with an early fight themselves too. They made sure to capitalize off of the squad that wanted to exit out of Harvester. Game work as well in the middle of this intense fight with Vex Gaming. I love the knock with the Missile Swarm at the very end, but Vex Gaming, another team that really came out swinging with KP.
Yeah, absolutely. Good edge fighting from them. But they took out Game Ward, a team that we had high expectations for coming in. They were one of our dark horses that we identified. And it's a big question mark for this team. They qualified through quals just a couple weeks ago. We thought maybe they'd come in and potentially be a top team. They haven't performed today, but a team that has. It's this bow check play from Alliance. Vexed as well, picking up some important KP. 4th place that they were able to climb to as well with their high kill game, Vicky.
Yeah, I believe they finished off with double digits. We'll see soon when we take a look at the overall standings here. But Vex Gaming had an insane, intense fight inside of that train cart, but the circle was not in their favor. It was pulling away from them. And I highlighted it to Tiff early on that a lot of the battlefield was going to go down between Fragment West into this hillside where it would lead up to the north side of the map for that next circle, because there's just so much open ground. And unfortunately, Vex Gaming did get caught up in the chaos.
Yeah, and here's this late game. Na'Vi alive. They lose 1. It's Sonya. He gets knocked. They're able to clutch out. Look at the blind fires with the 30-30. Wow. They're able to get the full res and reset to full. But still, Alliance with the pressure, the damage was done. And look at this. High ground, complete control. You think, but Yuki's able to connect with the PK and do so much damage to keep them back. And in the end, Alliance hits reset and somehow ends up winning this game. It was an insane finish for them. 10 points, 1st place, another 20-plus game for Alliance. But Na'Vi, Fire Beavers also show some much-needed life here in game number 5, Vicky. They put themselves in contention for a top 5 finish overall.
Yeah, Alliance being the
Vex.
first team here in our lobby today. Oh, right here too. Look at that. Vex in the very bottom with 13 kills to their name despite going down in 9th. Yeah, sure, they got 2K. They got 2 placement points, but 13 KP? Look how much points they got. They basically got 2nd place in addition to Na'Vi with the total points that they were able to secure in that game.
Insane. Let's take a look at the 2nd page. But I'm just saying for Vex, look, there's less stressful ways to get points, my friends. Make it to late game. That's all I'm saying. Now I'm just playing. Shout out to them. It's not necessarily a bad way. It's just a stressful way, the amount of kills that they have to get. Scars gets 6.7 total for them. Element 6 gets a few kill points as well with 5, but not necessarily a whole lot in the placement category. And as a result, let's take a look at the overall standings. Alliance separates themselves from the pack. 67 points for them. They responded in a major way today after a disappointing week number 1, Vicky.
Yeah, again, this is the only team that got 2 wins today so far. Of course, there is one more game on our hands here in the EMEA region, but Alliance popping off, making sure that they're going to be able to make that gap between themselves and 2nd place where Scars is sitting with 47 points. But from Scars, even all the way down to Aurora, it could be very close between those other 4 squads to actually match that to get into 2nd place with Scars.
Yeah, it's going to be an insane finish in game 6 for 2nd place overall. Alliance really running away with it, unless, again, they drop an egg. We've seen this before in weeks. They should have this one in the bag, but 10 teams that can contend for 2nd place. Vexed jumps up into the top 3 as well. Kudos to them. But we have to take a moment to take a look at that final circle one more time to break things down a little bit, because it was absolutely hectic and it was just insane plays left and right from Yuki, Vicky.
Yeah, I 100% agree on that, and the reset was even more impressive. Look at this off to the side from Alliance with the repositioning, making sure they won't get the res behind them. They're splitting their attention while Yuki's holding the front line. Monday's going to be able to hold the back line here. Both of these individual teammates from Alliance were able to split their attention to quickly finish that fight with Fire Beavers, allow the circle to do the rest of the remaining pressure onto this team, and then get Hockeys up with the gold knockdown shield that they were working off of.
And that's a moment where Manny's basically alone in a 1v2. It does enough to keep them at bay. Really, really good job for Manny. The gold knockdown shield was crucial for them, and in the end, they're able to reset. And Tsunavi that lets them reset because they had a knock as well. But here's the moment where Hockeys does damage, breaks ice, but then gets put to basically no HP, has to back out and reset, and it has to be Yuki that goes huge. Yuki's in a 1v2. He comes through, knocks one, and the PK shot right there for 72 damage is what keeps Alliance alive. He continues to dodge shots and survive as Hockeys heals back up, and they end up clutching the 2v2 for the win. Insane plays from the entire squad, but ultimately it was Yuki with the Peacekeeper going massive with that flick of the wrist into the finish. Alliance making plays, making a statement with an epic endgame right there. That was nuts.
It always makes you laugh seeing how pressuring the PK is. The respect that came out of Na'Vi after getting hit once. That 47 was enough to be like, all right, you got it. You got that real estate. I'm going to go reset real quick, which then inevitably gave enough time to Alliance to really pop off and reset. Like you highlighted, Yuki, really the MVP at the very end right there. All of Alliance looked amazing, but Yuki really did help give that suppressed fire that they needed to restabilize for that end.
If Apex weapons were guns, the PK is a Rottweiler. I'm just saying, it's just barking at people. Better back off. You know, you better not even try and mess with me. Nice job right there with Yuki with the PK to keep them at bay. And ultimately, Alliance takes the dub in game number 5. And that should be enough for them. Again, should. If they get taken out early, 0 points, a 20-plus point game from Scars, 20 points behind them, we'll do it. We'll put them in first. So it's going to be all eyes on them going into game number 6. Meanwhile, you have Nightmare, you have Vexed, you have Scars. You have so many teams in the running for a second place finish here in those very, very important points. Keep in mind, first place in each day of Pro League gets 25 points. Second, I believe, gets 22 or so all the way down. Overall cumulative point standings in Pro League, top 9 will make it to the Split 1 playoffs LAN tournament in just a few months. So that is what's at stake here. Alliance looking to get that 25-point first place finish today. Looking really, really well poised.
I love how we highlighted both Alliance and Scars individually, saying that we need to see them have their pop-off day, and they heard us, Fallout. They heard Tiff and I talking about it. They heard that they needed to make sure that they can remain consistent, and with that gap between themselves and second place, they're looking to be able to solidify that prediction, that results that they need to be able to have, because now going into game 6, they could take a breather. They could actually relax a bit. Yeah, they want to maintain themselves in the first place spot, but there's not a lot going on in terms of how close their points are in comparison to the rest of this lobby, like there is for second place all the way down to 10th.
That's right. Well, it all comes down to this. Our last and final game, game number 6, is just about loaded. Let's bring Tiffany back to the conversation here to get ready for game number 6. And you already know, I asked the tough questions around here. Vicky, start with you. I want your predictions. Alliance obviously is going to win. I don't want you to say Alliance is going to win. Second place, who gets it? Who performs? Vicky, start with you. One answer, one word answer, or a few word answer only.
Okay, because there's a bit of a gap, and I do appreciate Scars. We've been giving them a lot of love. I'm going to say it's Nightmare Esports that's going to be able to take it right after Alliance. I got to give it to Nightmare. I feel like Nightmare's been having a good pop-off moment, but they need to restabilize themselves. They got to find their footing like they did on Storm Point.
I said a few words, and she fit that 3-sentence period into a few words of time frame. That's how fast she talks. Kudos to Vicky. Tiff, I want your answer as well. You sticking with Vexed?
No, I'm not. I don't want to curse them anymore. So let's just go. I'm going Na'Vi. They've been inching their way, finding themselves dabbling in the end game circles, but I just want a little bit more out of them in that moment. Maybe take some pressure, fight the other teams. Maybe some RNG in that end game circle will pull in their favor, and Na'Vi will come out on top.
All right, well, there you have it. We got Na'Vi and we got Vicky with the Scars pick, or sorry, the Nightmare pick. Here we go. Game number 6. I got Aurora, baby. I'm still rolling with them. We'll see if they can clutch up. It all comes down to game number 6. Tiff, Vicky, take it away.
Thank you so much, Follow. Let's go. Our final game of the day here for the EMEA region, Tiff. It's been one heck of a day. I love seeing Alliance stay consistent. And while we get set up here for our final game, I'm excited to see if we're going to still see some of these 50-50s. It looks like Na'Vi is still fighting Echo Esports over on the side of Climatizer. And we do have another West Circle. This is interesting because we're exiting out of our Fragment West, rather it was north of Fragment West Circle in that open area, but we saw in our first game here on World's Edge a circle that ended up being over Lava Fisher. I'm expecting this circle to maybe pull more towards staging to landslide.
Well, staging is going to be really preferential if you're Vexed Gaming, and you know, Fallout, he said Aurora, but we also want to stick with Vexed a little bit, even though I was kind of like, I want to see Na'Vi do well. But if you're going to say the circle is pulling towards staging, Vexed is going to have that upper hand. hand because they are not going to be going on those half the map traverses to try and find through those mid-game KPs. They're going to get the late-game KP. So we'll see how it goes for them. But meanwhile, Alliance in their home of Thermal Station just getting kitted out. You've got that purple-blue napkin, as Wig would say. And we're going with a longbow in Mandy's hand, which, you know, when he was playing Gibby a lot, it was always that shotgun. At one point, he said, "My beak go crazy" in scrims. He had a Mozambique charge rifle, and I was like, holy. And sure, it didn't pan out for success, but that's okay, because it's different now.
I'm upset hearing that. You know, but I'm not even surprised whatsoever as we take a look at some of the other squads that are over in Lava City. We may know that there was, I believe it's Scars that lands in Big Mod, so Foot Esports that land over in Lava City are already making their rotation towards Big Mod, because we can see that there is a beacon over there. So it doesn't look like there's going to be a fight right now with already Foot Esports using the heartbeat sensor to ensure that this is a cleared space for them. They hear a Valkyrie, but I do believe that's their own friendly Valkyrie. As you can see, nobody coming up on Taylor's heartbeat sensor. But looking at the beacons and talking about the beacons, as one beacon is by staging, you can see her rising forest outside of this area. It's Aurora, Fallout's pick to pop up in this final game, already looking to take an early fight.
It's like they heard him, Vicky. It's like they were like, Fallout said that we should go ahead and win another game, so we're gonna do that here in map number 6 because we want to get to the top of the leaderboard. And Cleavy just throwing down all of the damage. It doesn't even matter if they've got, let's get spicy. I love that. But this is what they need to do, right? Close the distance. Make sure that they can get that gap kind of centered around them and then just full force it. But it is still early game and there is no reason to just chase someone halfway across the map. Let them go. If they're disengaging, your live to fight another time. But I always feel like Vexed over here in the staging area is going to have all of these teams looking to rotate into them. And they are sharing, trading it out, giving Unlucky that purple shield, and IGL Matafe going to take the white.
And look at the pressure that they put onto Alliance, where they basically forced them to sit down back on the low ground when Alliance wanted to rotate outside of Thermal Station. They have the information from the beacon that is located in the Thermal Station. You can see it off to the right side of Yuki. But Vex Gaming, this is an aggressive squad that they decide to wake up and choose violence, and Alliance don't want to be caught on the other side of that violence when they're ahead in the overall leaderboard. So they're taking to the skies. They're forced to use a skyward dive to get through this choke point, and now they're going to reposition themselves where they can actually keep pressuring Vex Gaming for this next circle rotation.
And I think that's exactly what they need to do. If you're being gate-kept, take to the side, you do the gatekeeping. And Vex no stranger to the fights, but basically they just need to bide their time. If they want to make it to that late game, it's the moments where they have to decide what is a good fight for us, because we know that their micro, their cohesiveness when it comes to these fights, it's like Matafe, able to give out the calls and allow Tyler and Unlucky to just wreak havoc on the teams that they descend upon. So I kind of like that, but making sure that you know what you're doing. As Corpa themselves, not really finding a whole lot of success here today. I'm looking for them to have a strong showing here in map number 6. So let's see what they are able to do as they make their way towards the next zone.
They desperately need it. I mean, right now, they're sitting overall in 15th. Their best placement was, I believe, 5th place in one of the early games that we had seen so far. But Corpa have been able to take these fights, but they are not getting the placements that they want. As you can see, Aurora, on the opposite side, they've been able to find a lot of success, even with an unorthodox comp running the Mad Maggie, the Caustic here, as Scars also in a fight themselves. A lot of fighting happening on these choke point sides, but Scars has the information on where the circle is going to be pulling, as well as the black market, so that way they can loot up quickly.
Loot up quickly indeed. And Scars, I mean, the thing is, they are always bunkering down. And you've got Taishin on the Caustic to really help that extra moment. That is your anchoring. You had that Newcastle Watson back on Storm Point, but utilizing Caustic to control the space that you're in and allowing Hiarka to just find success, and with a little bit of movement from Lobos Tactical, but that black market providing so much fruitfulness. But they are getting poked and prodded from the nearby POI. So just gonna kind of dash back inside and look for a little bit more information. I don't think they're going to get a clean push into this if that team's going to hold high ground and keep them off it.
Yeah, they may have to wrap around instead and take the longer route through north side of Thermal Station if possible. But then if they do opt to do something like that, you can expect other squads that are exiting out of Harvester to be able to contest them, especially if they're rotating from Lava Siphon. Scars also do have the Valkyrie available to them, so I'm expecting a skyward dive potentially here from Scars if they don't want to take this fight. Let's do a listening to Scars to see what their next moves are going to be.
Kill us. And people vaulted from top, I think. Can we have a look there?
Yeah,
I don't see anyone. I wanna go together.
Yeah, we should have a look, because if this high ground is free, we can play there a bit more. Be careful people here because I used too hot here with the boys.
What are
people.
those people?
No, I'm dead. Go back. Go back. Go back. Go back. Go back. Go back. Don't wait. Go back. No, go back. Go back. This is dumb. Ay, be careful, and I'm going. Maybe now you can do the thingy of the cart, Sharon. Go on the cart. You won't touch it. I'm not joking. It's the only play you guys have. Yeah. It's just vibe inside there, and that's it. You got this, boss. You got this.
Come here to me.
My bad.
Oh.
You guys win this, no joke.
We could literally try.
They don't have Cyril. I don't think they will win. They don't have Cyril.
They're just looting.
Yeah, that is good. They will come my banner, 100%.
Do you think I can get your banner, bro?
Nah, they will camp it. You can try, but where do... Oh, you can res me. Nah, you cannot, Jared. They're dead.
They're still there, bro.
Yeah, you just need to Valkult whenever you have it. That's it.
They're coming to us now.
Oh, Maggie, man.
They will push us now. This trap is ass, by the way.
Just fight them. You guys win this. You got this.
What a tough listen-in for Scars, because immediately right afterwards, Hierarcha, he warned the rest of Scars, all right, be careful peeking right here. I expect this block to get hot real quick. This is where we used to hide with the other boys, and Scars, they were trying to be careful, but Hierarcha, unfortunately, was caught by start of fight with that longer rotate around the corner, and of course, you saw the Mad Maggie tactical coming out from behind. That's going to be Aurora, who also want in on the fight without overextending themselves, but Scars are in a very difficult position. They have the Skyward Dive, but is it going to get cut short like we saw from start of fight?
Yeah, and that's tough because we saw that Skyward Dive kind of get ripped from them and you have to wait for it to recharge. And I love that they were kind of calming about, hey, can we get your banner? No, they're going to camp it. And typically that does happen. That's the moment where you really decide if you full a team at that point in time, that moment where you want to get your teammate back is nil. Like, it's almost very rare that someone's going to get a very nice reset after they've been full. And look at that, Scar's now relegated to a duo to fight it out here, currently sitting in second place as we go into map number 6. But Nightmare Esports, Vicky, it's that team that you are kind of hoping to pop off. They are able to get the Skyward Dive off, but they are being poked and prodded from all around. Denze taking so much damage. Now, can they withstand? Hit those skydive emotes, guys, because you're trying to dip, dodge. 5G's a dodgeball it out.
Yeah, gotta dance around it too. Dance around the bullets as they're forced to land on the low ground right here, but in the line of sight of other teams. Look at these little wall hops here too, as Lemek is able to get out of that position. Nightmare Esports, though, playing split up just a bit more than they were expecting here. As you can see, Lemek, unfortunately, he did not get the memo to land on the high ground here, and he loses out on his life. I believe that might be AIG that's on the other side as Game Warner looking to take this fight here too. So much fighting happening over here. They trade 1 for 1, but it's Echo Esports that have the advantage, but they can't get away. Game Ward are ready with the card to their back to get that final member of Echo Esports and get this res.
And that's what you need out of Game Ward, right? We've been looking for them to find a lot of success here, and that was a beautiful fight. Very well done. Able to get a good clean reset and now go on to the next one. You just got to keep on keeping on basically here. And in map number 6, what better way to do it? But let's cut on over to VZN, currently sitting in 14th place here. And map number 6 is the first time we're seeing Nox, and now they're finishing off their first set, coming out on that rotation, finding a team looming within. And now the question is, are they going to be able to get this? Fighting in the ring is so spicy, and all the damage going out. Nox able to get a knock on Asanya. That's going to be Na'Vi in front of them, and now VCN is able to be the thorn in the back. Na'Vi taken out of the lobby, and I wanted them so desperately to get a map win.
Oh, they needed it too, because I think they were on the outskirts of the top 5 in the overall leaderboards before this game. I think they were number 6. So VZN getting the KP that they need, now holding on to 3. They wanted to take that fight outside of the circle. I'm wondering where Game Ward is, because we saw them just in an earlier fight over here. Now, as you can see, the longer rotation coming in from VZD, they're going to be able to get into that next circle, take that longer rotation, as Fire Beavers are also in a fight on the other side.
Ooh, and the Fiverr Beavers are heating up and they smell it. They want to get in on the action. Watson fences and a little bit of a sniper action going to make them have to force that question. Do I want to peek right now? No, I'll reposition. Maybe this isn't the fight. You do not want to go into the open against a team that is holding it so well with Watson fences and a long range. This is like, hey, this is not my fight, but this is a good moment. This will be the last chance they'll be able to have this rotation through landside down into the caverns where that vault is and come out on the other side. The question is, who is on the other side? But let's look at V2. They're nearby that building that Scars kind of got trapped in early on.
Yeah, and remember that Aurora had them in their line of sight originally with all their squads making their rotation outside of Harvester. You can see V2 maybe sharing that real estate. They're just on the high ground right now. Not too sure if Scars is still here. I believe maybe they were able to get a rotate in and start a fight, or actually on the other side, they were the squad that was exiting Harvester. Game Ward, though, after they just finished having a fight themselves, are now taking another fight. Psychop actually falling so incredibly low, only leaving up to aimbot here. Can he clutch it out? He's got the car. He's got the purple extended light back here, too. Does he have the reload, though, on the flatline with VZN looking to approach him?
Ooh, going and throwing all the damage. Game Ward is going to be decimated from the lobby. Zane able to go ahead, but down. They only have 100 light ammo, so hopefully you can find some supplies here in the nearby loot. Your blessings from the relegations of the lobby, but Corpa also eliminated from the lobby. We were looking for them to find some success, but it's just not going to be their days. And sometimes that happens. Sometimes you have off days, and we saw that happen with Alliance and Scars, who are finding so much success here today. Now, the question begs to differ. It's like, hey, were these zones in your favor? Were you encountering some of the teams that found success in your first matchups? But regardless, VZN beginning their trek onto their rotation.
Better late than never here, too, for VZN. As you can see, a lot of these other squads and where the circle is going to be pulling. It is going to be a staging circle, but let's not forget that Alliance were kept on the low ground over in Thermal Station for quite some time. They were able to take the Skyward Dive, get ahead of the curve from Vex, who are now making their rotation towards staging. You can see the IG have been posted up inside of that building off to the left side for a really long time because they're rocking the Loba. It's not like they have to overextend to make sure that they have the loot necessary to take on some of these fights. But I'm worried about some of these teams that have taken the real estate on the outskirts of staging a little too early, because that's going to leave you opened up to get sandwiched really easily in this circle.
And I think that's a very valid point, because yes, rotating and playing zone is absolutely fantastic until you don't have the team composition or the ability to kind of hold down the vicinities. You know, those buildings inside of stagings, they have multiple doors. There's different angles that you're able to get. And when you play the inside of staging and you're trying to nestle yourself into a corner, I don't see too many Newcastles here on World's Edge like we typically see in NA. So that's going to prove to be a little detrimental to some of these team compositions. Meanwhile, Nightmare Esports, Start a Fight Esports going to fall, and Alliance finding themselves in a scuffle here on the outskirts. Mandy taking a lot of damage, forced to hop off that grab lift and kind of reset. The question is, who is going to be the throne in their side? Well, it's going to be someone running crypto, probably Game of Drones, and it is Torch finding so much success and damage on the way. This is not what you want if you're Alliance.
Yeah, and he's got limited ammunition, though, with that R301, so they need to be able to finish this fight so that way they can secure the loot necessary to take on the next fight here. With this choke point hold, though, that Game of Drones is going to be able to keep up the pressure against Alliance. I'm thinking that Alliance is either going to take the Skyward Dive to force their way into that next circle, or are they going to continue on this pressure, because they got 35 seconds before that next circle is going to close behind their backs.
Ooh, and that's what you got. Alliance able to get a full reset, though, so now they're prepped and ready to punish Game of Drones for even trying to take them down and hold them. My question to you is, do we take to the skies? Do we have that Skyward Dive available to us? It would be a gamble, right? This late in the game, hitting to the skies and going about that is super spicy, but I kind of like this, trying to nestle yourself up onto the rocks. My question is, will they take the ult from here to give them that extra little push to try to get over the top? I'm not,
I think that was cheeky. It definitely looked like that's what their goal was. They're going to take the Skyward Dive anyways, but like you mentioned, is it going to be enough leverage for them to get around this rock to get the... That would have been funny, actually. I'm tired of these Seers griefing me. Now everybody needs to deal with the same pain. Alliance, though, get out of that line of sight, all that tactical, and are going to be able to get right back into staging.
Ooh, now let's hope that wherever they land is going to be free real estate, which is probably nil, because this is such a jam-packed lobby with 11 squads remaining, everyone trying to find this, and V2 with a plethora of death boxes inside and a great positioning here, just looking to find as much damage as they can.
And while they are dishing out a lot of that damage, we're going to take a look and listen in with V2 to see how they're going to stuck and starve these stragglers getting into the next circle.
Anything? Kill them now.
Take in. Popping bad. You're alone. I'm coming.
I'm pushing this.
Okay, be careful of the shim on top.
In front of me.
I'm with you.
Chill. There is a team.
I need to
Go back. This is Doctor. Go back. Can you?
Yeah, I can.
Wait, I need to cover you. Heal up, then come. Okay? Come back.
You have a medkit?
Yeah.
I do. Take.
Shoot this guy. Back. 3, 2.
Enemy here.
Yeah. That's V2's listen-ins. I know they're struggling a lot being on the other side of the overall leaderboards. I believe they're in 19th place. They're looking to secure as much KP as possible. They have 4 to their name right now, and with 8 other squads still alive in this lobby, they're trying to deny the opportunity to allow those squads like IG, Foot, Scars, Horizon for being able to rotate through these train tracks.
You bring up Scars. I'd be curious to see just how far they've made it as a duo in this lobby, because as they are contending right now to take down Alliance, and as I say a duo, we've lost Taishin in the process. It's Jarovic right now with that gold R301. Ooh, dual R301. Okay, I see you, but you gotta do what you can do and checking in with them. Alliance, a 3-stack, looking to reign their dominance at the top of this leaderboard, looking so clean, so healthy. Fallout, you knew they were gonna win. You're like, Alliance is gonna take the victory here, and you know, it's not me. I didn't say it. I didn't curse them. I'm looking at you on set. We're one and the same here.
Yeah, the curse lives on sometimes, but hopefully not this time around, with Alliance still maintaining all the points of aggression as well as the positioning in this next circle. They're looking great. They're on looking as well the squad that is on the train tracks. I believe that is LFO, who are looking to push on their advantage. But that's 4 different squads that are sharing the real estate on that bridge, and with the circle closing in, you could expect a lot of chaos. Aurora also in a very good position on the opposite side of Alliance. They managed to get this finish. They managed to finish off V2, and you can hear the Valkyrie swarming right above them, but Aurora aren't gonna let them get away. That's some free KP served on the silver platter for Aurora.
They didn't let anyone just get away. They took down Scars, so Maliwan gonna find the rat in itself of Jarovic, and now 4 squads remaining. Aurora holding a nice position here on the outskirts of the ring. Now, this is the moment where you just gotta play it a little bit safe, but can you force the other teams to fight, and then you come in at the very last moment? Or do you want to make a play, like you said early on, get that aggro, because you find yourself in 5th place. You need all of the KP that you possibly can get, and you have to take it away from Alliance, who has so much strength right here. 3 squads remaining. LFO forever eliminated. Now, this is the moment we've all been waiting for.
Horizon versus Aurora versus Alliance. Alliance and Aurora have the best positional advantage in this next circle right now. You can see the pings going down for Alliance with a squad to their right that they gotta be wary about, because that squad, the entryway into this next circle, could be right behind Alliance. They could sandwich this team, and Aurora could help them. You can see the off angles that they're taking right now with round 6 now closing in behind their backs. What is it gonna be here for Alliance? They need to make sure that they're not caught in the middle between Horizon and Aurora.
Well, this is going to be the tough spot, because you see Horizon just nestled down there, and it seems like Aurora is looking at Alliance, and everyone's kind of ignoring Horizon. And if Horizon doesn't take a lot of damage here, they're going to be the ones that like prefer to have the third party. But Yuki just going under fire right now, and everything's getting crazy. When you see the Mad Maggie Wrecking Ball come out, this is going to get crazy. Now, Alliance able to get a clean little reset, but Haki's very hyper aware that Horizon is down here and firing down onto Horizon now.
Horizon playing off the side. Here comes the EMP coming in as Horizon do get that first stock here for Alliance. I'm wondering if Aurora going to capitalize off of this. Can they be able to fully push in as Horizon now? This is the sandwich that I was worried about Alliance. Horizon going to capitalize now, fighting up against Aurora at the same time.
This is the punishment. They waited and bided their time. Now the question is, the knock comes in on Cleavy. Horizon closing the distance, but you're going to fall in the form of Zero. Can Arvin and Mimu keep the dream alive and maybe come out on top for this moment? They're doing everything that they need, but Yuki has something to say. Yuki comes in and says, bye, Aurora. Now they turn their sights onto Horizon, and this is the moment we've been waiting for. Mimu finding some clean shots in the back, just need to dust it out, and Horizon is your winners here in map number 6.
In the final game that they needed here too, they prevent Alliance from getting the 3-peat, okay? They already took game number 5. They already took an earlier game for game number 2. Enough is enough. You guys secure as much points as you can. Now it's our turn from Horizon to take the dub.
That was what I was nervous about, right? We saw kind of Horizon just nestled in there, and I was like, okay, well, if no one's going to focus them, they're going to come out on top. And you saw Hockeys. He was like, hey, we've got to take this fight onto Horizon before Aurora realizes it. Look, we're all having difficulty saying Aurora.
Yeah, the evil stepchild, or the evil cousin, perhaps, of Team Aurora is Aurora. Nice job right there from Alliance, though. Honestly, Alliance got knocked early, so not the best endgame or circle for Alliance, but the fact that Yuki's able to survive and actually sneak out of second place, just even more to add the already impressive resume that is Alliance today. 2 wins, a second place finish, and undoubtedly a first place overall finish on the day. Alliance dominates. But hey, let's start to get ready for the discussion here as we are getting ready to jump into what is going to be an insane final series standings and showdown. We don't know who's going to be in that second place spot. Something tells me it will be indeed Aurora, Vicky.
Yeah, I mean, you called Aurora out originally here too. I know we talked about Vex Gaming at one point, but Alliance had an amazing day today. They needed that. Alliance, Scars, the 2 teams that we really wanted to keep on our radar, had an amazing pop-off day, and I'm excited to see what the overall leaderboards are going to look like for us.
Yeah, we will find out as we're calculating those final standings, and we'll get them live for you here in just a second. We'll also have the highlights from game number 6 ready for you, and then, of course, our Monster MVP discussion, and we will be having a player interview. So a lot in store here for our post-game for EMEA. But first things first, it's time for the highlights. Game number 6, we talked about it. Which teams are going to step up and show up to secure that second, third, or fourth place finish? It was a 10 to 12 team race, and Game Ward, again, we talked a lot about this team. We hyped them up a little bit. Not the best showing for the young rookies, the French squad, formerly Le Site de France. They get a few kills early on, but not a whole lot in the overall kills category, Vicky.
Yeah, surprisingly there too. I know they had some pretty good fights as Game Ward. You can see right now they're going to be able to not only take some of these fights, but they were ended pretty quick. VCN, another team that I had on my radar right now. Before that last game where they were probably having the best game that they've had so far, they were sitting in overall 14th, and they had a lot of great moments, such as Game of Drones, who also were able to take control and utilize that drone to control the choke points on the north side of the map, preventing the likes of Alliance from actually just easing their way into that next circle.
Yeah, this was just such a tough late rotation. You saw so many teams in the kill feed, including Fire Beavers, a team that was in contention but got taken out, I think, in 7th or 8th. But in the end, it was our final 7 teams. You had IG in the running. You ultimately had Aurora in the running. And then it came down to our final 3, Horizon, Alliance, and Aurora. And Yuki manages to survive and get a second place finish. Talk about this late endgame circle.
Yeah, this is where things started to get a little bit interesting for a lot of these teams. Horizon found themselves nestled just down here, but it was Hockeys who made that call to go ahead and start pushing towards them. And I thought that was a really smart move for them. However, Aurora didn't double down and go and fight Horizon. They went ahead and full pushed Alliance, which I respect because that's the great call for them. And unfortunately, they still got eliminated and Horizon came out on top.
Yeah, and a 13-point game for Aurora should be enough to give them second place. We'll find out in a moment, but a massive performance for Horizon. The Finnish squad showing such a great outing in game number 6 and that they can bang with the best of them. A 23-point game. Alliance continues to do Alliance things today with a second place finish. LFO picking up some kills. V2 with quite a few kills, as well as VZN in 9th place on your screen. Let's take a look at the second page of the standings here before jumping to the overall results. Teams like Nightmare start a fight. Reply Totem, Element 6, Fire Beavers not able to get the points that they needed to give themselves a chance for top 3 overall, and in the end, I think will fall, Vicky, in the overall standings.
Yeah, Nightmare not performing the way I expected for them to perform in that final game, but there was a lot of chaos, and the only double digits that we saw on that screen was from Horizon, the winners of that final game with 11 kills. But looking at the second half, though, there were some teams like Vex Gaming, Corpo that I was expecting to pop off, even Navi down there all the way in the bottom that were caught in the middle of the rotation.
That's right. That's how the cookie's going to crumble here for day number 3. In the end, the overall standings, Horizon does it by 1 point. Are you kidding me? We said it's going to be a tense multi-team race for second. And in the end, we have 3 teams within 1 point. And Aurora, 1 point behind, gets 4th behind Scars and Horizon. Congrats to Horizon for the pop-off 23-point game. Wow, what a finish here, Tiff.
What a finish it was. And it was really great to see Alliance kind of separate themselves from that. It was about a 28-point gap that they garnered over second place. So sure, the fight was for second, third, fourth. That reigned super close. So you can just see those moments where Alliance was able to get a lot of those placement points for the most victories. That saved them. That put the distance on them.
Yeah, massive performance, obviously, on the day for Alliance, but congrats to Horizon as well. Let's take a look at our overall kill leaderboard, though, and it's going to be Vexed, so take a look. Vexed, not even in the top 5 in standings, but first and third in kill leaderboards, and they were talking about it. They were touting on Twitter, Tyler FPS, the MVP right now, most kills in EMEA. It's not going to mean a whole lot if you can't get placement points, Vicky.
Yeah, Lucky out here with 15 KP to his name. Vex Gaming, you know, they had their pop-off moments throughout the day in this lobby, but specifically with how heavy they were on maintaining the KP throughout the different games. Even if they didn't take a dub, they still were able to get that KP from Unlucky. Tyler FPS right behind them there too.
That's right. Vexed frags out, but not necessarily able to get the Pro League points that they needed. Mandy, though, with Alliance in 6th. And that is surprising to see only one member of Alliance in the top 10 in kill leaderboards, despite their domination on the day, Tiff. A really interesting stat point. Just because you get kills doesn't mean you're the best team in Apex. Placement may be more important than kills.
I just think it's that happy medium, right? You got to make it to end game, and you've got to have the eliminations to couple with it. And you can just see right then and there, Vexed Gaming, they know how to frag. They know how to be absolute menaces in their 3v3 micro fights. The question is, how do you improve the macro and making sure you're getting to that end game? Do you just go away from playing that aggressive edge and maybe just try out zone for a little bit? You won't get as many frags, which is probably the funnest part of it for them, I'm sure. But if you can couple that with the placement points, that's how you succeed.
That's a great point. Alliance doing a good job of playing that hybrid role of placement plus kills. Obviously, the back-to-back 2-time wins did not hurt them by any means. But hey, we could talk about team performances. Team performance is obviously incredibly important in the overall standings, which we've shown today. But it's time for an individual discussion. Who was the best performer for your Monster MVP as we get ready to bring Spider, Tiff, and Vicky into the conversation here for Monster MVP of the day in their eyes. Tiff, starting with you. Who do you think took it? Who do you think was your MVP on the day?
Well, I think it's going to have to come from a team that has found themselves at the top of the leaderboard with 30 eliminations for the day. I'm going Mandy. You know Vicky Kitty's going to be absolutely pumped if she can get her hands on that clip of Mandy with the bow check bow. But everything that this team has done together has just been so amazing today. And Mandy, a sub for this team, you know, for a fact at this point. And I think just finally finding that synergy, it only took them a little bit of time, but they found it under the leadership of that IGL Hockeys. This is who I'm vying for. It's Mandy, it's Legolas, and look at that nastiness with the bow check bow. How could you argue?
And to be honest, he kind of looks like Legolas as well, Vicky.
Yeah, I literally saw those shots land and I said, if that was me, I would literally be crying on the other side. And I have to give props, obviously, to Mandy for popping off. But my other MVP that I've had my eyes on, it's got to be from Vex Gaming. It's got to be Unlucky. I know he fragged out. I know he got the KP. I know Vex Gaming didn't get all the points that they wanted for placement points. But I also love getting the KP necessary to make sure that your individual skill is also really shown out here. Vex Gaming doing a really good job, both on Stormpoint and on World's Edge. Of obviously, they need to maintain that consistency going through the two maps, but I have to give it to Unlucky. Not only with the repositioning abilities that he performed with the Valkyrie and with the Horizon, kind of rotating around that with Tyler, but also the way that the comps are flowing through Vex Gaming. You could see the one-on-one. I gotta restabilize. You go and you can take control real quick while I reset with the shield bat real quick here too. Vex Gaming's comps go crazy, but I have to highlight Unlucky's technical skill.
Yeah, Unlucky, the young Austrian, dominating. 17 years old, by the way, and the kill leader on the lobby today. He's been such a force to be reckoned with in EMEA. And yeah, I respect that. Vicky, you know, obviously, tell two tales, right? For Mandy, it was his ability to play well with the team and Alliance's overall team performance. For Unlucky, he just played like a monster himself individually. and you know, obviously, it's a tough one. But for me, it's between Mandy and Yuki, personally. I got to give a lot of respect to Yuki, what he was able to accomplish. Those plays made the difference in the end. Yuki was playing out of his mind. And then, of course, there's a great argument to be said about Hockeys. Hockeys in his IGLing, his overall individual performances as well as his team performance and the role he plays for the team controlling their macro. But hey, a great discussion nonetheless. Let us know your thoughts in the chat and who you think your Monster MVP was. This has been the Monster MVP segment. Great discussion as always. And as we get ready to welcome one very special person for an interview, you already know we had to bring none other than the IGL of Alliance, Hockeys, live with us for an interview. First things first, congratulations on the win. Hockeys, I'm sure you're feeling on top of the world right now. A lot of discussion this week on the best IGLs in Apex Legends. That's how I'm going to start. I want to ask your thoughts. You obviously had some great insights there and who you think are the best IGLs. Where do you think you rank in the overall list?
Number 8. That's what I got at champs. I think that's how you get to rank it at the moment. Like, nothing else than LAN matters, in my opinion. That's where you have to perform. That's where the money is. That's where the competition is, like, at least worldwide. So I think that's where you got to look until the next one, you know?
I respect the humility with that logic. 0 on top. Tiff, what you got for him?
Look, I just saw the dog. Hakis, I just saw your dog, and I feel like you are amazing at what you do and so talented. But can we get an up-close view? Can you bring the chair over? Will the little boy stay in his chair? I just need it.
Oh my god.
His duo.
The duo.
That's his duo. The real coach. The coach right behind Alliance, giving the comms over to Hakis out here, letting him know what he's got to do for rotates. Oh, what a good boy. You have that amazing support.
I love that. I love that so much. But no, for my real question, let's go ahead and talk about it. What was going through your head in that moment? Mandy's last alive, just south of Thunderwatch in that end game against Scars. How do you coach someone through that moment? Do you kind of actively tell them, or do you give them a little bit of free reign to live their life?
I mean, you try to help them as much as possible without taking over completely. I think that's the biggest thing. We kind of coached them to go for second first, but then we saw that they started fighting and we were like, you just go for the win. Sadly, we kind of canceled it and we got third in the end, but nobody remembers second place. So it's more fun to go for first.
That's so true. I really like that question from Tiff because it's important to allow your teammates to also feel themselves a lot, get that confidence when it comes to the late game too. And I want to highlight, what was the difference between going into this day versus the first day that you played in the ALGS? Because Alliance really did turn around. You guys had amazing performance compared to your first day. Was there anything different that you guys approached going into day number 3 of EMEA without revealing too much of your strategy, of course?
No, we just entered it like we usually do. The biggest thing was just changing from GB to Horizon. I feel like Mandy, after the first week, he got pretty confident in it. He realized that GB wasn't no longer that much meta, and we had to just YOLO the Horizon, even though he just has no practice on it. So, getting first place for literally playing Horizon for the 3rd time is pretty good.
Insane. One small adjustment, crazy how much of a difference it makes. Last question I want to ask you, Hakis. Obviously, a lot going on with your team right now. Vice, being substituted for Mandy, and a lot of, reps in with effects, et cetera, et cetera. After a first place finish with Mandy, can you maybe settle the score and some of the discussion happening about the future of the Alliance roster? The full Alliance roster going into day number 3 will be what?
Gotta wait and see.
Oh, he's going to leave us hanging.
Oh.
I tried, friends. Listen,
Okay.
I tried. Everyone in the chat, the Apex community, I tried my best. I thought we could get it out of him. But the man is cold as ice. He's going to keep us guessing what the roster is going to be. We will find out. But it's been crazy to see you guys perform with Mandy. It's been fun to watch. Obviously, a big personality, a big name, a big brand, and he's been performing. Any final thoughts or shout-outs, Hakis, before we let you go?
Shout out to all our sponsors. Shout out to my family. Shout out to Pontus, who's sitting next to me, my manager. Shout out to my teammates, Yuki and Mandy. And yeah, Mandy, third time playing Horizon, the super sub. Absolute huge shout out to him as well.
Respect given to Mandy. He said, my teammates, Yuki and Mandy, that confirms that he's playing with Mandy next week. No, I'm just kidding. Congratulations to you, Hakis, and the Alliance squad. Shout out to Chef Pontus as well, and the Alliance organization, the co-CEOs of Alliance. Remarkable people showing a lot of support for Apex Legends. We appreciate you. Show some love to Alliance and Hakis. You're winners of day number 3 for EMEA here. We will say goodbye to Hakis. Thanks again for your time, my friend. Much appreciated as always. A lot to talk through here. Obviously, the future of the Alliance roster is what, but a couple other storylines here. Scars showed some good things today. We obviously saw Aurora continue to perform and impress with this off-meta team. Despite their efforts, though, only a 4th place finish. Easily could have been 2nd if they just got 2 more kill points overall. But Vicky, as we start to wrap up, your final thoughts on kind of big stories that you saw today. What stood out?
Horizon, it goes crazy. That's what I picked up off of Hakis' interview. But, storyline-wise, I'm really excited to see the future of Alliance and their squad going forward within the rest of the EMEA region. We note that this team has consistently been on top, consistently been a top 3 EMEA squad. Now, can they bring that through the rest of this first split of year 3 of the ALGS so that way they don't wander off too far like we saw last year?
Tiff, how about you? Any final thoughts?
Well, I guess I'll pull it from Hakis' interview as well. Sub buff go crazy. We saw Rambo on Leon subbing in for GMT Esports, kind of popping off as well. Dark Zero performing with the sub. So maybe the answer is just finding a sub and just fragging out, because it was so insane to see. So congrats to Alliance for coming out on top.
I love it. Well, great job, as always, to the two of you casting. Tiff, your debut as an ALGS caster, you absolutely crushed it. Throw some love in the chat for Spider Tiff, my friends. Drop her a follow on Twitter as well. Vicky Kitty, Tiff, great job, as always. As we say goodbye, we'll see you back for the North American show here in a little bit. But as the day wraps up today, What a day it was for EMEA. Coming up, we have our North American broadcast just in a few hours. You will not want to miss it. FaZe Clan, will they continue their performance? We'll see them alongside TSM, Furia, so many other top teams in the action. Optic Gaming as well. Not the start that they would have wanted in week number 1. We will see if those teams and more can step up and perform as we get ready for the North American broadcast. Well, for EMEA today, interesting display of events. Alliance back on top, and really, it's a question mark. That's the storyline. The macro story for EMEA is we don't know which team is the top team, whereas in North America, it's very clear who your different top tiers of teams are. In the S tier, you have a couple of teams, obviously, at the top, NRG and a few others. In the A tier and the B tier, it's clear that SSG, Optic, Team Liquid, and so many more are performing. In EMEA, it's a question mark. It's a roll of the dice. That just goes to speak to how much depth we have as a region in EMEA. Today, it was Alliance. Last week, it was the Kansas City Pioneers. We will find out as those two teams will continue to play each other in the Pro League in the following weeks as well. What a day it was for the EMEA broadcast. We hope you enjoyed the action at home. We have the North American broadcast coming up next. As we mentioned, so many top teams and heavy hitters. Don't go anywhere. Maybe take a little bit of a break, take a breather, come back in an hour. We got North America, the ALGS Pro League ready for you after this break.